Awesome. All right. Welcome, everybody. We did a 3-day challenge about a month or two ago. Do you know when, Luke? Around that point?
Yeah, I think it was about a month ago.
Awesome. Well, we did that. And we decided from there that we wanted to make it a monthly thing. So we're now doing this every single month, every second Thursday of the month from 12 to 4 Pacific Standard. We're just going to be sitting on here, taking calls, getting deals, asking questions, things like that. Jonah is about to hop in right now. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. We're on a couple platforms, so hopefully everyone can talk and stuff. I see Joey in the comments. We got Joey here. So that's awesome. All right. Oh, we got Cody too. Nice. How you doing, Cody? So yeah, we're going to have Jonah on from 12 to 2 doing calls and working in SimplSend and kind of showing you guys the ins and outs. And then from there, we're going to have Tyler on from 2 to 4. And then me and Luke will kind of be in here to talk to you guys, ask questions, things like that. So that's awesome. How's everybody's day going so far? Does everyone want to give us a little update on their lives or anything?
I do think it's a little funny that right now we're streaming to both Austin and Jonah's YouTube channel, and it's just me and Sarah. So if like people are like, "Oh, I want to see what Austin and Jonah are doing," they're gonna like pull up the video, and then it'll be not Austin and not Jonah. But don't worry, people. Austin will be joining at some point. Jonah is going to be here shortly, and then we'll also have Tyler. So it's going to be a powerhouse club.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. But don't worry, we're not hackers. We're not hacking Austin and Jonah's YouTube for now. Yes. You and I might look at it like it. We're in like little dens.
Yeah. But I guess while we're waiting for Jonah, one thing I wanted to talk about, I'll probably start off and then I'll ask Jonah this when he gets on, is and actually I'd be curious for the people who are in the chat too, right? So because I have some people ask me like if people are like you go out to places and like, oh, what do you do for work? And like, you know, so it's interesting because if they don't know anything about wholesaling, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm in real estate, or like, oh, are you a realtor? And you're like, no. Or sometimes they're just like, what do you do for work? You're like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, oh, what do you do for work? It's like, oh, I'm basically unemployed, you know? So, because being an entrepreneur is kind of like that sometimes, right? Like you're not doing a 9 to 5. Like sometimes you don't have an office, you know, it's like a very different type of lifestyle where it's like every day you're out there on the hunt type of stuff. So one of the things I was going to talk about a little bit is why I chose to be an entrepreneur and why I'm still currently choosing to be an entrepreneur. And if anybody else is in here like this, I think that would just be a fun question to ask people if this is your full-time thing or you want this to be your full-time thing, why is that the case, right? For me in particular, the reason why I was, because I had a couple different options, right? Like I went to a university, did college, mostly just because that's what my parents did. And so then I kind of had like the two options before me. I was like, okay, I can go down like a career path and try and be like an engineer or something like that. Or I have like this buddy who's doing stuff in real estate. I can go down like the entrepreneur path. Which way do I want to go? Right. And at the end of the day, I really didn't like the idea of having like a ceiling where it's like, okay, if you get into like a 9 to 5, you're guaranteed to make some income, but then you know what that income level is and you're kind of stuck at that. And for me, I wanted to have the ability to go beyond that. I wanted to have the ability to be like, yeah, I'm going to I want to push as hard and as far as I can go and see where I can get to. And so for me, that was like the main reason I wanted to be an entrepreneur, is because I wanted to see like what I could do. And great, we have Jonah back. So Jonah, I'm curious. I want to ask you this question before we get started. Why did you choose the entrepreneur lifestyle?
I was not meant to have a job. Like, I just wouldn't have been happy. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I'd rather be poor and be an entrepreneur than work for someone else, to be honest. Like, I'd have to be paid an insane amount of money to work for somebody else. I just like it more. It was more in my spirit. It's more, I'm meant to be figuring out my own path, doing my own thing. I don't know. Like, if I'm going to try to play the game of capitalism, I really want to win. I think it's partially like competitiveness too. And yeah, I don't know how to describe it other than that. I just don't think I would have been happy if I didn't work for myself. I like the challenge of starting new things and being part of businesses and stuff like that and making things grow.
Nice. All right. Well, Sarah, is there anything else we want to go over real quick before we like get started at like doing some outreach and stuff like that?
Also, I'm gonna add a little one thing to that question is like, for instance, I can take tomorrow off to hang out with my dad, right? I guess technically you could do that with a job, but depending on the job, they might say no. Like no
Yeah.
one can tell me no for taking tomorrow off.
Yeah.
I just tell everyone else that I'm taking tomorrow off, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Super good point. Cody said, for me, I became an entrepreneur to have more control of my future. I also grew up working in construction. I've always loved working with my hands. So real estate seemed like the best fit, which I completely agree with. Growing up around construction, I grew up completely surrounded by it, and it definitely made me develop the same thing of liking to be very hands-on with everything I do. All right. Jonah, do you want to go share your screen and we can start doing some calls?
Sure. That sounds
Awesome.
good to me. Let's get some calls in, guys. Let's show some SimplSend stuff.
And then if you guys have any questions throughout the time while he's on a call,
Sarah, I
or
think you gotta bring it up. I can't bring it up, but I did share my screen.
awesome. All right, you're up.
Cool.
Awesome. So if you guys have any questions throughout the call, or any comments or concerns with Luke or Jonah, let us know and we can throw them up there and get those answered for you. But otherwise, here we go.
All right, guys. So I'm just gonna work on leads that I've already been working on. Or I might just call this guy. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of things. So let's do this. Just go through my leads. So I like doing it. I like having all my leads at the very tippy top. These are some like pending, need to get out there. I think this was a direct to seller call. I'm gonna talk to if Chris Montoya should be in here. Well, anyways, let's open these up. 4, 5, 6. All right. So this is a wholesaler I'm working with. I'm going to update him on a bunch of different things.
The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the time. Trying to reach is not available. At the tone.
He's got 3 deals. That's why I put 3 tasks. That wasn't obvious.
Got it. Joey asked you, Jonah, what's a good initial outreach message you send to start things off?
Well, you guys already have that in SimplSend. It's just set up immediately. That's already set up for you in the workflows. It'll show you if you guys want to see it, but if you buy SimplSend, it's already there, right? But I guess there might be, is this for the SimplSend private group or is this for like, oh, this is all over our YouTube. So some people don't have SimplSend, huh?
Yes, this is
forgot
on
about
your
that.
YouTube and Austin's YouTube.
I forgot that this might be a bunch of different people. So hold on. Let me, where would it be? I'm kind of the, nope, not there. It would be, here we go. So, we use ChatGPT. I need to save that. We kind of use ChatGPT for a bunch of stuff in SimplSend, right? So we're supremely fancy. Here's a bunch of possible first responses. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. Hey, first name. This is first name, your first name from your LLC. I notice you're an agent in the Front Range in Colorado. I'm looking to purchase property. Hey, here from Safe Routes Venture. I found your information on Realtor.com, and I'm interested in using your expertise finding the right properties in Colorado's Front Range or surrounding cities. Hey, this is me from Safe Routes Venture. Do you have any properties in your pipeline right now? I'm interested in buying. Could use your help. Find your contact on Realtor.com. Need assistance with buying a property. You just say like I'm interested in buying a property, right? We obviously made it for SimplSend users incredibly fancy. We use ChatGPT to randomize the outreach text, and then we do that, and then we do some follow-ups. We'll follow up the next day. Hey, did you get my text message from yesterday? Hey, I'm here from Safe Routes Ventures. No sweat, if you don't want help, just let me know so I can quit bugging you. And then if they never answer, then we end it there, right? So that's the basic thing. At some point, if you guys are really interested, if like you didn't write all of that down, I have like a little free Google Drive that I give to people. There's a bunch of my resources. So anyone can hit me up on Instagram for that. Be kind of hard to post in here, but yeah. So yeah, just up to you guys. Okay, let's keep going, I guess.
Jonah, if you have the link for it, let me know and I can get that.
Hold on, I can get you the link for it.
Cool.
Yeah, I will get you the link for it right now, actually. I should really have that saved. How we doing tonight, guys? I'm gonna get this link for you. Are there any other questions? Why did you? I have a question for the audience, actually. Why are you guys here? What do you guys want to see? Why did you guys show up to this challenge? What are you guys like looking for? What can we do to make this super valuable to you guys? You know? Because I'm curious what you guys want. I'm down to keep making calls. Oh, Nicole, that's so sweet. I appreciate that. Yes, I will be here, but okay, here we go. All right, I'm just messaging it to you now, Sarah. I'm texting it over.
You're texting it perfect.
Okay. All right. Live examples on deals from experts. All right, I guess that's what we're doing. Oh, Jacob wants to be brought on live. We might do that. Jacob, stay in here. We might do that later, right? Because I don't want to just be making calls all day. I'd rather be talking to you guys too. You know? Love it. Okay, let's share my screen again and let's keep making some calls until someone answers.
Beautiful. Your screen is up.
Okay, awesome. What do I need to do here? Gotta remind myself. We'll get it if it isn't. But yeah, and just in case if there is if it is a 3-2 and maybe it's a 1-1 or a 1. Oh, I remember. So this one I gotta offer 200K below what they want to make it happen.
Jonah,
What?
we also got a question from Spencer that I think is pretty easy for us to answer. I don't fully understand the contract concept with the agent. How do we assign the contract if we're using the agent's contract, or are we using our assignable contract? So Spencer, it might be worth, just so we know, what state or market are you wholesaling in? Because depending on what realtor contract you have in your state, that might determine the answer a little bit. But yeah, Jonah, do you want to just like speak to basically?
Well, no matter what state you're in, you're going to be using their realtor contract, right? Realtors are not going to be letting you use your contracts unless it's like a creative financing deal, really. It's really the only time they ever let you use a non-realtor contract. What I always do, some states things are assignable, some states they aren't assignable. I personally, no matter which state it is, I put in an assignability clause because I want them to know that I could assign it, right? Let's get out the issues before we're in contract, because it's a lot easier to deal with things up front than it is to deal with it after the fact. Like if like Luke and I have been there where the agent didn't know you were going to assign it or potentially assign it, and then they see it marketed out on an email blast, and then they yell at you, right? Both of us have been in that position. It sucks. It's annoying, right? There's responses to that, and it's easy to deal with, but you can just start off the whole conversation by just saying, hey, I'm putting this in the contract, right? You don't even have to say it. I just have them write it in. And then if they have a problem, they bring it to me, right? And then we talk it out beforehand. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, there isn't a problem. I'd say maybe, honestly, I'd probably say like 1 out of 20, I have to just double close it if necessary. I'd say 1 out of 20 are like, I will absolutely not put an assignment clause here. I don't know. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, and then Spencer, since you said that you're in Arizona, I'd say in most cases, Arizona contracts are just assignable by nature. To Jonah's point, you definitely should still put like a clause in additional terms saying that that the contract can be assignable, or that you're potentially going to wholesale it. Like you still have to disclose that. But yeah, it's still just like the normal process. You'll get a property under contract using a purchase and sale agreement, which in most cases, like Jonah was saying, if you're talking with a realtor, then you'll just use the standard realtor contract. Then when you go to assign it, you'll use an assignment contract, which just assigns basically all your rights from your purchase contract to the new buyer. So yeah, you just make sure that your contract is assignable and that you have something disclosing that you have the ability to wholesale it or assign it. And there's different ways, there's different verbiage that you can use. Typically, if you want to know like what the best verbiage is or something like that, you want to make sure it's approved. I would just say talk to a title company, like whichever title company you're going to use. Just like clear the verbiage with them first. Be like, hey, I'm going to be, putting this in my I'm going to be bringing you guys some paperwork soon to like open up a file with you guys. I'm planning on putting this verbiage in, saying that I'm gonna, assign it. Are you guys good with that? And a lot of times the title company will just be like, yep, yes, we're good with that. Or they might say like, oh, can you add this or change this to this? So I would just clear it with your title company and then you should be good.
I would love to see how you pass off a hot lead or take it to the next step by comping, writing your offer, and talking about it direct to agent in your interaction with your dispo guy. Yeah, Nicole, I'm gonna show all of that. I'm gonna show you guys my whole process, right? You'll see different leads that are in different stages. Some I'm like gathering info on a lead, some I'm submitting an offer, right? So you'll see every single stage, right? So yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
Awesome. All right.
Bring up my screen again. Sarah?
Yeah, I'll throw your screen up once it's over from like back into SimplSend.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There you go. You're up.
All right, cool.
is Leah with Mile High Luxury.
Man, I'm not getting very lucky today, am I? Nobody wants to answer.
This is Leah with Mile High Luxury Real Estate. Please leave.
So this one is an interesting one. I was like, it is like cosmetic. It's not even cosmetic. It's like pretty nice. The agent was like, you know what? I think they'd be open to seller financing and they really need to sell kind of quickly. So if you're open to that, just give an offer. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'll give you an offer of seller financing if you want it. But usually I don't do that. Usually I give a cash offer first, but it didn't make sense unless it was seller financing. Hey, Sylvia.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. You saw my POF, right?
I actually haven't had time to look at it, but I will. And
Okay.
what email address did you send it?
I sent it through my system. Believe it should be from Jonah at saferootesventures.com, I believe.
Okay.
But
Okay, good.
yeah. Since I have you on the phone, can I ask about the property, or do you still got to review the POF before you tell me about it?
Well, actually, the property went under contract, but I have the other one.
No. It happens. It's okay.
Yeah, it was an Arvada one. So, but if I remember right, are you interested in buy and hold as well as rehab?
So how I buy and hold typically is I will do the rehab and then refinance and then keep it. So here's what I'm looking for always is ones that need a lot of work or ones that are in a lot of distress. Generally.
Okay.
What was the one you were thinking? Was it like cosmetic?
Okay. It was both. It was cosmetic, and then once all the debris was removed, then we saw the issues that it really had.
Well, what's the issue?
So, I mean, well, the issues was it had foundation issues.
Oh, is this the Arvada one still?
And it went through, yeah, and then
okay.
it went through the hailstorm. So, and then it needed a roof.
Gotcha.
So it got ugly.
That would have been perfect for
another
me.
investor picked it up.
That would have been perfect for me. I get it. Like we were, I didn't send over the POF in time, and hey, it happens. But it's okay. Are there any others coming up, or just that one?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I got plenty. All right.
What's coming up?
Then what will happen from here on out is I don't remember if we discussed if I was going to represent you or if are you a wholesaler or
So
what,
I
what?
do.
Or you do both or
So yeah,
does it
so I do
matter?
everything. So I know I think we talked like a month or two ago. But yeah, I do everything.
Yeah.
So I do buy and holds, fix and flipping, wholesaling. I've done an Airbnb. I've done one multifamily
Okay.
deal. So I do anything that makes money under the sun, right? What I consider
Right.
myself best at doing is solving sellers' problems. That's what I love doing. So the pre-foreclosures, the no equities, the hoarder scenarios, the squatters, that's my specialty. That's what I do better than anybody else. I can do the vacant fixtures, right?
Perfect.
I can definitely
Uh-huh.
do the vacant
Uh-huh.
fixers, but I'm not much different than anyone else on those. The ones that have serious problems, I can help out a lot that in ways that other people don't know how to or don't want to.
Okay. And are you a licensed agent?
No.
Okay. All right. So then how I'm going to do it with you then, because I am licensed.
Hmm.
I can't refer you, so
What are you thinking about?
I'm gonna have to represent you then. I'm gonna have to represent you. Okay. So anything that I send you over, it's going to be a buyer's agreement.
Sure.
It's going to have an address. I'm already going to do the front legwork on it.
Okay.
And then you basically tell me what you'll offer and when you would like to close. I'll write up the contract, send the offer over, and then see if they take it or not.
And bada bing, bada boom, we both make a ton of
Because what
money.
I'd like to do is, yeah, exactly. So, and then I'll have a percentage, which most likely what happens is that my percentage will be paid by the seller.
Yeah, either way. I mean, like,
So,
honestly, I know the whole NAR thing is kicked into effect. I really, if I
right.
have to pay your fee, all that means is I'm gonna offer a little bit less. So like, I'm here to make sure you
Yeah,
get paid. However you need me to make it where you get paid. So, I'm definitely here
right.
for it.
So that's not going to kick in for a minute, but I
Okay.
see an opportunity to make a hell of a lot of money because I have a huge inventory. I got this niche, and
Oh, love it.
it's done really well for me.
What's
So,
the hottest one? What's
um,
the one that's about to come up that you're like, ooh, this is a good one that's about to come up?
actually, there's a lot. That what I'll do is I'll put you up on my list on investors that I will talk to you because I got two that are really, really good. And the more you visit, the more we close, you get higher and higher in my list.
As it should be.
Okay, if you really like the ugly ones
Oh yeah.
or
Uglier the
the
better.
pre-foreclosures or whatever
Uglier,
the
the
case
more
may be.
problems, the uglier is the better for me.
Okay. And then I'll put my percentage on there. You factor it into your numbers, and then I'll present and try to sell it.
Let's
So,
do it. Okay. So nothing right now, but it
okay.
just sounds like you have a lot that is coming up. Am I correct?
Well, I have some now, and so tomorrow, I always get my inventories on Wednesday. I get inventory every Wednesday and Thursday. And once the inventory comes up, that's when I present it to multiple investors.
Okay.
And they come back and give me numbers. I
Okay.
write offers on everybody's behalf, and then pretty much see who lands it.
Okay. Are these
So,
on market?
and some of
Where is
them
this inventory coming from? Is it on markets? Is it your own referral network? I'm just curious.
off market. These are all off market.
Okay. Cool.
They're
Well,
all
I don't
off.
know.
Nobody
How do
knows about
I
them other than what I present them.
so tell me, what's the next step
How
so
do
that I
you get
become number
first?
one? Just how I become your favorite investor ever. I
Well,
just need to know I need to know how to make it happen.
we need to land deals.
Let's
We need to
do it.
land deals. We need to close properties. Yeah,
Okay.
we need to close them. And
Okay, let's do it.
and the more that we close, the higher you get up.
I love it.
Because
Well,
that
okay.
way, if I only have to, write one offer and we're landing them right and left, well, then you become number one. They become number 2 and 3.
Well, I love it. I love it.
It's whoever's competitive.
Okay. Well, let's do
Because
this.
I could sit there and write offers all day long, and if you're just lowballing them and cutting them, that's not going to win. That's not going to win the race.
Well, let's do this.
I need something that's going to be. Go ahead.
Let's it sounds like we have some, but they're not quite there yet. It sounds like. So I sent you the POF. I'll send you my email.
Yeah.
Just,
Yes.
I'll follow up in maybe like a week or so. Unless you get something, please text me. And yeah, let's get some deals.
Okay, that'll work. That's what we need to do. I need to
So-
close them. And you're able to do 7 or 14 days? And are they cash or hard money or both?
Hard money. I like it. 7 days is a little quick. 14 days I can do. I like doing 21 unless they want it quicker, right? If they want it to be 14 days, then I can do 14 days. It's just I just like having 21 days. It's more relaxed for escrow, I think. But as far as I'm concerned, I can do 14 days. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's what we'll do. All right. Cool. All right. Let me get my ducks in a row, and I'll put you. I'll review everything that you send to me email. And another thing is, and what I tell everybody is, I need something. Like if I send something, I need to be on your list saying, "Oh, Sylvia's got something. We need to look at this.
Yes,
we need to
100%.
evaluate."
I will.
Let's get that
I'm
number
very.
back to her as fast as we can.
I always am within 24 hours. I won't lie to you though. Tomorrow I'm taking off the whole weekend for Father's Day. My dad's visiting me, but typically with it, you'll get a response from me within 24 hours, usually 12. So yeah, trust me, I'm speedy too.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right, we'll see what we can do.
Thanks, Sylvia. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you, Jonah. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we want to review that?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that was really good in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
Audience, what did you guys get out of that? I want the audience's opinion on that. This call seems like a gold mine, but what about it seemed like a gold mine? What did you guys get out of that? Come on, you guys have to have some opinions, no? We're paying attention in the chat. I want to be interacting with you guys.
Sure, Luke, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so one thing that I thought was it was interesting, right? Is so I'd love to know the context of like what happened in the first one. It sounded like she told you she had a deal. You asked for information. She's like, I'm not going to give you any information until you show me that you're serious. Send me your proof of funds. You then send her the proof of funds. She doesn't even look at the proof of funds, it sounded like. And then she sold it to somebody else, or it got sold to somebody else. That's what
happened.
So one thing, after hearing like kind of how she works a little bit, one of the questions I would have liked us to come back around to is like, okay, when you get this inventory, are you the only one shopping it out? Like it's just like you're sending it to your pool of investors and all your investors are bidding? Or are there also other investors outside of us also bidding on these deals too? I would be curious to see how that was working. Because my question, right, like to Cody's point, right, like, oh yeah, it sounds like a gold mine. Sounds like she's getting a whole bunch of deals. Jonah, I did like how you clarified, like, oh, are these like on-market properties? Are these off-market properties? I'm just curious how you're getting these. She said off-market. So one thing I'd be curious about is like a potential follow-up question for later, something like that, or maybe you just wait until you see some of the inventory, is if these off-market properties are coming from other wholesalers. So because if they're coming from other wholesalers, that might change how you negotiate them.
I'm curious where she would get it to, because she said, and I could have questioned more on this. I was debating whether to question more on this. I wanted her to give me one. That's why I kept asking. Like I was like, let me just see what it is. Exactly. But like I was thinking about asking her and just being like, not just like, are these wholesalers? Because she said she specifically gets inventory Wednesday and Thursdays. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like why most people don't like have specific days inventory comes in generally.
That is interesting. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
So you'll just have to keep us posted on how it goes. Like next Wednesday when you get deals, like what ends up coming from that. It could be a really good business relationship. The other thing I would say, right, is for you guys, right, because this sort of stuff will happen on like fairly often, where an agent might tell you like, oh no, there's a restriction, we can't, like, we're not taking offers until this day, or we're not doing this till this day. and then you'll follow up later and like, oh, the deal sold, and you're like, oh, what happened, right? And then sometimes like, oh yeah, we just got a really good offer, this or that, the other. So for you guys out there, if an agent's like, oh no, we're not going to take any offers right now, I would still try to push for an offer, because it might happen where you call back later and like, yeah, the deal's gone, it's sold already. So whenever possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was ignoring me was the issue. Like I was like trying to get a hold of her and she just didn't call me back.
It's not always gonna pan out, but yeah, sometimes that happens. The other thing I thought was really good, hopefully you guys caught this, is like one of the first questions, yes, and this is also why I was like, it might be worth asking, like, okay, are these deals from wholesalers? Is because she seemed to know a little bit about wholesaling, and she directly asked like, hey, are you a wholesaler? And Jonah just has a great way of like skipping past that, where he basically goes, yes, and then he talks about a whole bunch of other stuff, and then I'm pretty sure they just forget their question at that point.
I tell them I do everything, which is true for me, right? Yeah. That's the thing that makes it easy. Like if that's not true for you, what I would say is like me and my partners do everything, and then you do the exact same answer, because your partners are me, Luke, and Sarah. We will partner up with you on deals, right? So, yeah.
All right, we have a couple responses to all of the people saying what they got out of the call. Cody said she's willing to make you a number one investor as long as you can perform. Benjamin said build relationships with agents to be on the top of their list. And then Nicole said,
I don't know that I believe her. She
and
might not be telling the truth. We never know, right?
For sure. And then Nicole said, I think she's a hunter, finds a property, uses your offer to go to the homeowner. She doesn't have the homeowner exclusive. That could be a possibility for sure.
Hard to tell.
And then Cody also said, you know more than me. Nicole says smelling BS. And then Michelle had a good question. You guys kind of answered it, but if you're asked, if you're a wholesaler, what's that proper response? Definitely just say you do everything.
That's really what it is.
Stuff a little bit more, they tend to forget about the wholesaling thing. They're like, oh, he might just like fix and flip it or things like that.
What they're really asking you, the subconscious question that they're asking you there is, do you know what the hell you're doing? And am I actually going to get paid by working with you? That's what they're actually literally asking. Because what they think is, if you're just a wholesaler, you have no idea what you're doing, you don't close deals, and I'm going to waste my time with you. That's what they're worried about.
For sure. And then you can always leverage what your partners do, because we're always here to work with you and figure that out for you. So you can always leverage the partnership with Jonah, the partnership with Luke, partnership with Tyler, Austin, everyone here. So.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe we should announce this. I was going to announce this at some point, but there's a flippin' simple student that right now we're double closing a deal with right now. Nathaniel, I'm blanking on his last name right now, but Ruckel. He's in Denver, and he's about to. We're getting an EMD today, hopefully, and it'll be 22.5 to him, 22.5 to us, and hopefully, I'm gonna try to coach him to do a price renegotiation too. I think there was plenty of different things, like the basement has to be reconfigured. Like I think we could get down another 20K. So. Yeah, guys, people are getting deals with SimplSend. Flippin' Simple is teaching people how to close deals. Because when he sent me that, I was like, damn, that's a good one. Yeah, I will help you sell.
Oh, yeah, he's killing it. Nathaniel's doing great. He just started, and he knew nothing when he started. So that's super awesome to see. And I believe he's using SimplSend as well to make all his calls. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have any questions about that call or anything regarding that? And then otherwise, we'll just get started on calls again. And then as questions come up, I can just throw them on the screen. Nicole said, who secured the double close money?
Oh, so we have escrows that can do pass-through funding. So we don't use transaction lenders, right? Which is what I'm pretty sure you're talking about, Nicole. So we just use the buyer's money to close both escrows. So we don't need to get a transactional lender or anything like that.
Yeah, that is another really good question to ask title companies or closing attorneys. Like while you're vetting them out, like, hey, are you able to use pass-through funding on a double close? Because if they say yes, then it's like, oh, boom, now all of a sudden my double closes just got cheaper.
Yeah, a lot cheaper sometimes. Like this would be probably, like they'll probably charge you 1% or 1.5%. And so this one, it would have been like, we would have had to minus out an extra 7 to 8K probably off of our fee. And that sucks for no reason. If just for choosing the right escrow, I get 8K more.
Awesome.
So,
All
so
right.
yeah, we'll get back to it then.
Calls. All right. Your screen's on. You're good to go.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Available right now. Go ahead and leave a message, and I'll get back with you. I'm not available right now. Go ahead and leave a message.
So this one, like, it's not under contract anymore. He's not answering me. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of annoying. We'll see. It might be a completely dead deal on that one. This one, this one is really interesting. So this is going to be a direct to seller call. The agent was like, honestly, just call him directly. Like, I don't really want to deal with this sub 2 scenario stuff. So this will be, if this guy answers, he hasn't been answering me, but it is a potential sub 2 deal that I'm trying to lock up. But I need to remind myself of a few things. 6291. They texted me the address, so I gotta make sure I'm gonna have it up. Yeah, so we'll call him again. Let's see if we can get a hold of this guy.
Seven, one, nine.
Sellers are even harder to get on the phone, but we are going to try at some point. I also got to add. Okay. So I quickly need to go to the bathroom. Luke, can we do a little quick Q&A? Sorry, while
Absolutely. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you guys are having fun. All right. Any other questions while we're waiting? Or do you just, it could be something about the calls Jonah's done, or just any other wholesale questions. I know we're going to have a Q&A slightly later with Austin as well. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just do a fun story time, I guess. Something else, I'm curious, because I believe it was Joey earlier in the conversation asked what outreach text messages people were using. Obviously, if you have SimplSend, there's some outreach text messages already built in. But I'd be curious if anyone has had success with an outreach template. Feel free to throw it in the chat. Maybe you can all try different outreach messages and see how it goes. I'll actually throw out a couple that I've been playing around with. I'll just throw those in the chat in case you guys want to use them, modify them, do whatever. We'll see if that gives you anything or not. We'll see if that chat gets flagged or something. But yeah, so just did that. All right. Tell me what wholesale deal you did that you learned the most from. Setback or success. Oh man. So here's the interesting thing, and this can be one of the reasons that you really like real estate, or maybe for some people this might be frustrating, right? But in real estate, you're not always going to have the same problems, which is one of the things that I actually enjoy about it, because for me it makes the job feel different, not as monotonous. So in some cases you might have a deal. Actually, I know this happened to Nicole fairly recently, where everything looks like it's going smooth, and then a few days before close you can have the seller die. So that could happen. All right. And that's going to be a different circumstance. You can have some situations where you have the seller all of a sudden decide to back out. That could happen for a couple different reasons. It could be, for example, that maybe you blasted out your property and you could have somebody trying to cut you out. That happens from time to time, where someone tries to cut you out. And so what they do is they'll go like door knock the place, or they'll try and skip trace the seller. And they'll be like, oh, did you see that so-and-so is trying to sell your deal for like 20,000 more, something like that? And then all of a sudden the seller is like upset, or they're like, oh man, I undersold my house, so now I don't want to perform. So you could have those types of situations. It could be you have like squatters in the property. We've had that. I remember one time in particular. This one was interesting for me, where this is when I was working at a wholesale company and I was just focused on the disposition side of things. And basically what happened is I sold the deal to somebody, and they were taking it sight unseen, right? So I sold it sight unseen to them, and okay, can I get into the house? And the thing is like, no, it was occupied at the time, but we told them, hey, it's going to be vacant at close, and you'll be able to get in and see it before close. And so I keep following up with the guy, like, hey, is it vacant at close yet? Is it vacant at close yet? And he was like, no. And then finally one day he's like, okay, yeah. And this was like the day of close. He's like, yeah, it's vacant. Tell your guy it's vacant. Send him over. So the guy goes over. The door is unlocked, but like there's still a bunch of stuff in the house. He's like, hey, it looks like there's still like a bed. There's still clothes. Like, are you sure this place is actually vacant? Double check with the guy. He's like, yep, it's vacant. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, tell him, yeah, it's vacant. You're good to close. So the guy, he leaves the house. He goes to the title company. He signs. He pays. He goes back to the house. And then there was somebody in the house. And he's like, oh, hey, are you like getting stuff? Are you leaving? What's going on? He's like, no, I live here. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, here's my lease. And so it was not vacant at close, and the seller had just like lied to us. And then the seller got his money, and we could not get a hold of that seller again. We could not. And so obviously the buyer was super upset, because now all of a sudden he had some tenants in his house and he wasn't sure what to do about that. Basically, he was like threatening to sue us and this and that and the other. Anyways, what we ended up doing is we just ended up having a conversation with the tenant, and we're just like, hey, like, tell us your situation. What's going on? Here's our situation. And we just connected, and we basically were able to do cash for keys. And we gave him, I think it was like $500 or $600, which we made like it was like a $15,000 assignment fee or something. So like in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much. And it also avoided us, getting sued. And he was able to get out of there in like 6 days, which was a lot quicker than having to do try to do some sort of eviction or try to serve him notice or something like that. Like the shortest time we would have been able to do if we had done those processes would have been like 30 days. But yeah, we just talked to him, gave him cash for keys, and he got out there, right? And so like a lot of problems can just be fixed if you're able to position yourself and make it so that you're on the same team as the other person, and you just have like a real honest, open conversation, and you just position it like, hey, we have this is the situation, we're all on the same team. How do we create a situation where it wins for everyone? So that was pretty good. Yeah. Joey does have a question. And I know actually funny enough, Jonah, you talked about it a little bit where Joey, so just to make sure, let me actually pull up my text. So, oh my gosh, Joey, what the heck is this giant text that's in here? Let's see. So, hey, Luke, is there an upcoming change coming mid-August that requires a buyer-broker agreement? I've heard it from like 3 agents this week now. So I'm assuming that he's talking a little bit about that NAR lawsuit that you had mentioned, Jonah. I don't know how much additional information you have on that. That might be something we want to save.
I thought it went into effect June 1st. Or so then when she said no, it's still got time on that. Now I have no idea.
So
Yeah.
NAR is starting to go into effect June 1st, but they can't exactly just give it a cold cut. But I think from what I've gathered with it, it will be completely in effect, everything in line by December. So that's what
Okay.
I've gathered.
It really doesn't change anything, in my opinion. I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, but
It does change a lot
whatever.
in North Carolina, I believe.
Wait, why North Carolina versus anywhere else?
I have no clue, but we do a lot in North Carolina, and now we can't really do a lot in North Carolina anymore because of it. So
So Joey, where everyone, I have heard different things from different people about how much it's going to affect or not. So I don't know if anyone really knows what this decision is actually going to do. It sounds like what's going to happen though is that people are just going to have to negotiate for their like the buyer agent is going to have to negotiate for their commissions more. I think is what the biggest thing is going to happen. So before, like the standard right now, basically. Is that the seller, it pays both the buyer and the seller agent commissions, right? So the seller pays for the 2 agents commissions. That's kind of like the standard. And it's like typically somewhere between like 2.5% and 3%. Sometimes it's a little less than that. Like it's always kind of been negotiable, right? But I guess the lawsuit was saying it wasn't negotiable enough. So now the buyer's agent is going to have to be more proactive in negotiating their commission, which just means that when you put in offers, you're going to have to see like, hey, are you paying my agent a commission? Or am I going to have to pay them a commission? So it sounds like there's going to be a little bit of that. And so the buyer broker agreement, what it's going to do is, and you'll always want to make sure that these are property specific, but basically it's just going to say, hey, if the seller doesn't pay my commission, you're agreeing to pay X amount is probably what the biggest thing is going to be. So as long as the buyer broker agreements are property specific, you should be fine. I don't know if Colleen is on here, but Colleen's one of our students. And I know at one point, hopefully she doesn't mind that I'm sharing this, but I know at one point she signed a buyer broker agreement that was like 30 days long or something like that. And it was like a general one. And basically what that meant was any deal that she closed during those 30 days, she would have had to pay a commission to that agent, which we don't want to do.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Yeah. I mean, really, in the end, all it's going to change, in my opinion, is just means that we have to give slightly lower offers. We just have to do the math on like, okay, now I'm paying 3%, so now I got to offer like 15K less or 10K less, right? That's all it, I don't know. To me, it seems like it's going to end up being the same thing, but whatever. Okay, should we get back to it?
Yeah, let's go. I think that was pretty much all the questions. But yeah, guys, if any of you guys also, while you guys are like thinking, if you come up with any like outreach text messages or templates or anything that you want to share, test out or something, feel free to throw it in here.
This is like, by the way, how I like doing it, guys. I like doing it where I just open up a bunch of tabs first.
Your screen is up, Jonah. You're all good.
Cool. Okay, I don't know if my dispo has gone back to me on this yet. Let's see. This is no. He hasn't quite gone back to me. So I can't give an offer until my dispo gives me the number on that one. Called.
This is also Brandon, real estate investor who worked with Jonah. You mentioned a few weeks ago there's a fixer upper in Longmont that you're trying to sell. Wanted to see if I could you know, give you all that. Thanks. Bye.
Joe.
Hello?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Hey,
It's
good. How
Jonah.
are you doing?
Doing good. So, did we get the listening agreement or what happened?
Oh, we won't know until 5.
Oh,
That's tonight.
okay. All
I
right,
got
then
to meet with them at 5 o'clock for my
then I
listening
will
agreement.
call you tomorrow, and then hopefully we can get the deal.
Yeah. What is, I get like a recording in the front, and it says, your thing will be recorded or something every time. What is that?
It's basically I record the calls mainly so that I can help train my teammates, my my employees, just so that they have video calls of me recording it and that they know that like basically so they learn how to talk to people, you know?
Oh, okay. No, and
Yeah.
I always wonder if I'm going to get like some kind of robocall when if I don't see your number. I know it's you, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if I'm driving and I don't really see it, I hear the recording and I'm like, what is that? You know, I'm
If you
about to
say
hang up and then,
if you save my number, you'll just know it's me. If you just save my number as my
yeah,
name.
and that's it. Yeah, but sometimes I'm driving and I'm not seeing it come through because I'm paying attention. You know what I mean? And so I
Yeah.
hear the recording thing, and I'm like thinking I'm getting some kind of spam call. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was
I get
curious
it.
what that was. But
That's what it's for.
yep, no
Okay.
worries.
I appreciate you, Joe.
So
I'll call you
Claudia
tomorrow.
Ritter, yeah, call me first thing.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
You, by the way, guys, in SimplSend, you guys can turn that off if you want to. I never like turning it off. I personally think it's way better to record the calls and have them know it's there. It is annoying in the sense that some people get like confused by it, but at the same time, it's like if, you know, it's legally supposed to be done. Every state is different. Some states it's not as required as other states, but I don't know. I think it's helpful. Okay, where was I with this? Need to give offer of 75K. Where did
Just
that
cool
go?
on those.
Nice. All right, thank you.
Meant, got a couple different phone calls this afternoon with some potential different listings, and I'll let you know on those.
Nice. All right.
Hello, the person you are trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave.
Oh no, so remind
This is
myself.
cool. How are you?
Doing good. Anything from the Florence property or still nothing?
Still nothing. I'm gonna circle.
It's kind of crazy. This sometimes happens where the agent is representing someone and then that person just isn't getting back to them. It sometimes happens, but that's kind of what we're dealing with right now. I submitted an offer of 75K because it's really a small one. Okay, no news. There's certain leads, guys, where it's just, it's just you kind of like just follow up every week until it's the right time. That's what a lot of these are right now. Let's call in.
this is Anne Marie Tort from Coldwell Banker. I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave a detailed. Hi, this is Anne Marie Tort from Coldwell Banker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's like a follow-up in a week.
Hey Jonah, just a quick question.
Mhm.
When you're using a SimplSend number, if you don't answer the phone, is there a way within SimplSend for you to connect it to your personal line so that it goes to your phone?
Oh, it always does.
It always
You
does?
always connect it to a phone number. So if anyone calls any of my SimplSend numbers, they go to me
Okay, perfect.
directly.
So you don't need like an outside source or anything like that.
No.
Awesome. All right. That was just a
Yeah.
question we were getting in the chat. So yeah, you should be able to do it just within SimplSend.
Yeah. If anyone calls me, it's ringing on the website and it's also ringing on my real phone. Like if there's an incoming call, it'll go to both.
Awesome. All right. Does that make sense, Benjamin? All right, your screen is back up. You're all good to go.
Awesome.
Please leave me a message. I'll get. Please leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Oh yeah.
Jonah, also, this might be a fun question for you to answer. This was from, let me see, this was from Jacob. So if this is something if you want to think about. He said, can you tell me a wholesale deal where you learned the most from, like either from the success that you had from it or like a setback or
Oh
whatever?
man. Probably learned the most from my first one. I feel like always the first one is the one you learn the most from. My first one, it was just the kind of a shit show. I had to do like 3 different showings. Someone said they'd take it and then they backed out on me and I was so happy and then I was so sad. And then I finally got more people in there. There was like a realtor I was trusting who was trying to help me get the deal done and I forgot what they did. They like, I don't even remember. There was something like stupid that they did. But I had to price renegotiate, and I really didn't like that because the person was in pre-foreclosure. It felt really bad. Then we got the deal done. I'd say my first one, right? But every deal you learn something, right? I feel like, or like at least every deal is different, you know? you just do like a couple hundred of them, and then you eventually are like, okay, I got this in the bag now. Like, it's easy.
Boom, baby.
You're muted, Sarah. I don't know if you were saying something there.
Sorry. I said, Luke, what do you think yours was?
Well, I already okay. So funny enough, now that I'm like thinking about this, now I'm just thinking about like all the terrible mistakes I've made while wholesaling. So I have like a few, right? Like I remember one time, this is again when I was like relatively newer. I remember Josiah Grimes was sitting right next to me, and he was just like horrified that I did this. But I was on the dispo side, and somebody called, and just I was like, put on speaker. So put on speaker, and the guy's like, yeah, I think I really like this deal. And I was just like, okay, yeah, you think so? He's like, yeah, I think I do. And I was like, okay, great. Well, let me know when you know for sure. And I hung up. And, and just I was like, what are you doing? He's like, that was a sale. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, he said he wanted that one. He's like, he said he thought he wanted that one. He's like, no. That's where you come in as the salesman. You reaffirm that it's a good deal. And as long as you do that, they'll take it. And I was
That's
like,
really
what?
funny.
Are you sure? And so then he like made me call him back and like walk through the thing. And the guy ended up taking the deal. So
That's really funny.
yeah, so that was one that I remember. I did that and I was just like, oh man, that was painful. We had another one. Okay, this is actually I'll tell you guys this. You don't have to learn this by yourself. So we were all right. So here's the first thing, right? We were selling a package deal. Okay. So it was a package of 8 properties. Okay. The first lesson to learn from this is that you should almost never work package deals. That would be my first piece of advice.
Super got hard to make package deals work.
Right. And
very,
then on top of that, on top of that, if you're doing a package deal and let's say it's like 4 single family houses that are all relatively like the same size, same area, something like that, that's a certain type of package deal. This package deal had like a duplex and a mobile home and a lot, right? It's like how many buyers want a lot and a duplex and a mobile home, right? It's like one. Okay. And there it was like 8 random properties. So that was the first problem. Then here's the next thing, right? So we had gotten it locked up too high at like 800,000 or something like that. Okay. I was still on dispo. And so the ACK guy got it at 800,000. We had some interest in the 700,000 range. Okay. So we tell our ACK guy this. He goes and he gets a price drop and he signed the price drop. So he actually got the price drop at 700,000 and then he signed the price drop. What we didn't realize had happened is the price drop also ended our inspection period. So that's the other thing to watch out for is when you go for these price drops. So in our minds, we thought we had like another 4 days, but as soon as he had executed that price drop, our inspection period actually ended. And so our $8,000 that we had for earnest money just went hard right away at that point, once he signed that price drop. And so we keep shopping it for the next 4 days. We still don't have anyone who wants to do it. We go to cancel. We find out from title that, oh no, your earnest money's hard. And so then at that point, it was like, okay, well, dang, it's either we just lose $8,000 or we just really try to sell this thing. So then we went back and we literally talked to every single buyer in Ohio, like every single one. We like all of them. And we did find one person who was willing to buy that property. And he basically bought it at cost from us, which we were happy with because it just meant we didn't lose our $8,000. So I guess there's a couple things
that's
that
a stressful one,
right? Like
I also have another lesson story too. This was like one where this was the hardest lesson. There was a deal in the San Francisco Bay Area where I was gonna make it look good to make $70,000, like a $70,000 deal. I posted the house on Craigslist, right? Just because I was like, oh, this will get me more buyers, whatever, right? We show up to the property. I've got like 10 buyers there with me. And the guy just starts cussing everyone out. There's no deal here today. Get the off my property, yada, yada, yada. Right? And I'm like, my heart sinks. I'm like, God damn it. This guy. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why are you so mad? And then he just shows me the Craigslist thing. And I'm like, rats, that's super annoying. And he had his lawyer there and it was like a whole fiasco. If that happened again today, I would have been like, look, you can be mad about this, but we can still do this. You can argue with me whether I can do this or not, but you have to show us the property. Contractually that has to happen, right? But I was scared by the lawyer, so I canceled the deal because I was like, I'm gonna get sued and I have no money to be sued over anyways. Also didn't understand if I didn't have any money, it didn't make any difference anyways. But yeah, anyway, that was a hard lesson because that could have been an extra 70 grand.
Wow. Alas.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I
Cody
guess
asked. Sorry.
one other quick lesson I do want to mention, and this is actually okay. So this is when I was working on a team, I was managing this team. It was a team of wholesalers, and they were working specifically in Tucson. It was looking like they were going to have a super solid. It was a small team of like 4 or 5 people, and it was looking like that team was going to have a super solid month where they were going to have $180,000 month. And it was looking really good, right? So that would have been a record-breaking month for them. They had been in the market for maybe like 6 months at that point. Like they hadn't been in it super long. And so it was like super exciting, right? And when we got to the end of the month, instead of them closing 180,000, they only closed 90,000. And so literally half of their deals fell off.
That sucks.
And it wasn't like oh, these are deals that we have under contract and we want to try to sell them. No. These were deals where we had them under contract. We had a buyer. The buyer had deposited, and then they still fell out somehow. And I was like, how is this happening? We did almost all the hard work and we're tripping at the finish line. What's going on? And so literally, I just spent like a whole week basically following these guys around to see like how they were structuring their day, to see what they were doing. And the way that all of them were structuring their days, they were always doing their cold outreach first, and then they were following up on their offers, and then they were following up on the properties they had under contract, and then they were following up with the deals where there was like a buyer involved. So they basically started always with the thing that was furthest to the money. And what would happen is they'd end up spending their whole day doing cold outreach, and then they forget to follow up on some of the other important things. And so what would happen is a problem would pop up, but they wouldn't know about it until just like a couple days before close, because they hadn't followed up with the deals that were actually about to close, because they just assumed, oh, those ones are good. And so the thing is like problems or little bumps, like little speed bumps, will pop up on almost every transaction. And if you catch them beforehand, they're like typically not that big of issues, right? Sometimes you just need an extension or whatever, or you can work through it almost all the time. But what would happen is they would find out these things literally like the day of close, and then we would need some time to resolve them, and there just wouldn't be enough time. And so then it would end up canceling and they would just lose all the money, right? So the biggest thing I learned from that is always start with the thing closest to the money. So if you have a deal like under contract and you have a buyer and that buyer has earnest money in, you might think like, oh, I don't need to follow up on that. That's done. But I would say like follow up on that thing first. Make sure everything is smooth there. Like talk to the title company, talk to the agent, talk to the buyer. Just make sure everybody's on track, and then worry about the things further away from the money. So I always start with the thing closest to the money and work your way backwards instead of doing what those guys were doing. And that was like a $90,000 lesson that we learned that month.
If you wanna be making millions of dollars, you got to be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to be making billions, you're going to be losing hundreds of millions. That's kind of like how it goes. You're going to be losing a good amount of money. If you're losing money in the tens of thousands, you're probably making hundreds of thousands. If you're making millions, you're probably losing money in hundreds of thousands, right? That's just the game of business.
Yeah, and then Jonah, did you wanna say something before I said that?
Yeah, I mean, you heard what I just said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, I don't know if there's anything else we wanted to go over before we got back to doing calls or anything like that.
We asked Jonah, do you make your buyers deposit EMD prior to giving out access codes to lockboxes and or any showings?
No. They only deposit EMD once they're ready to buy it. So they can go see it beforehand. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back.
Good question, Cody. My stance is always I try to push for sight unseen when possible. So I always push for that first, and then if not possible, then I will then I'll give the showing, because you will have some buyers that, and I guess also it depends on how good your pictures are, if you have videos, things like that, what access looks like, if it's on lockbox or if it's like tenanted and it's going to be hard to get in. So it'll change a little bit depending on the property. But if I have like really good pictures and videos and I know it's current condition, then yeah, I'll try to go sight unseen first. And because there will be some buyers that'll buy sight unseen, and if for whatever reason it doesn't, then you can always go the access route. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to get multiple inputs, right? Like no one person's going to be exactly the same, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily if Tyler gets EMD deposited. Don't quote me,
He
but
doesn't.
I think it might be just a deposit of some sort. Or maybe
Oh, it was on the call yesterday. He went over a call with us where he got earnest money in before having the guy walk it.
Got it.
Interesting. That's like probably a pretty special situation then. I don't know what it was. Tyler would have to explain it, but I've never done that. But I don't know. Okay, let's go back to calls.
And we'll have Tyler on in approximately 43 minutes, so he can go over that if you would like.
I'm gonna refill my drink real fast. Be right back.
You're all good. Jonah, your screen's on your
Thank you.
screen is up, so you're good to go.
Wait. Oh yeah, this one there. Right, I remember. This is like one of those ones that's just, a lot of these are just like follow up slowly. Sheldon, oh yeah.
Hello?
Hey Sheldon, it's Jonah. How are you?
Okay.
Good. We talked about 1660 Boston. I gave you that off.
You gave me what? Hello?
Jonah, I think you might be muted.
Mhm. Right, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, right. Yeah, so let's do this, right? Because look, like I want you to be happy selling this, right? Like if that's not the number that works, like I don't know how much I can talk to my partner. He's more the numbers guy. I'm much more the like person who just tries to make things work and get people to like me. So yeah, I didn't say that. I mean, I can get my own financing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like for me, like it's not. Look, I'm not. I'm just trying to make something work here, right? Like if we can't make it work, it's okay either way, right? How we originally met, I don't know if you remember how we originally met was over. I was calling you because I found you on Realtor.com as an agent, right? And then you're like, hey, I actually have this one in Boston, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like let's talk about that. So, um, how about this? Let's do this. Um, what if I give you a call next week? You run your comps, you think about like, hey, here's where I'd be willing to sell this to you, Jonah. And then if we can't make it work, we can't make it work, and we just get the next. And either way, no hard feelings either way. How about that? I can tell. Do you want to know where that number came from? Is that what you mean? So one of the big things that was part of it, but that wasn't the bigger reason, to be honest, was it's right next to an apartment complex, right? Typically, when you're buying properties, it makes the value of the property less if there's commercial surrounding it, right? I mean, I understand this is a quadplex too, but that is a bit of a risk factor compared to the comps that we were seeing. A lot of them weren't around many apartment complexes. They were much more residential in that area, right? That was the biggest thing, to be honest. I'm looking at my partner's notes that was making him a little bit switch out. And Mhm. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it's basically that it's kind of bordering commercial, which is always tough in general. Um, then also part of it, yeah, Yeah, I know. It was more that it's like specifically right next to an apartment complex. We've had trouble sometimes if we were like, let's say, and I'm not saying with this one, but like when we've done a flip and then it's right next to an apartment complex, certain buyers like don't like that. This one we'd probably keep. It's just anyways because it's a quadruplex. But it just generally isn't as valuable as ones that are like more having more residential around it than literally bordering. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm not. Hey, look, I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, look, there's always demand for real estate, right? Everybody wants to own some real estate. Mm, yeah. And look, I might not be the right buyer, right? Like maybe the best thing to do is, since you're a realtor too, is to just list it and then go on the open market, right? I don't know, right? Um, mhm. Yeah, no, totally makes sense. Let's just do this, right? What if I call you next week, take the weekend, think about what do I actually want for the property? If it's somewhat close to it, like then maybe we can make something work. If it's um, yeah, yeah. So okay, so I'll call you next week. We'll see just think about where you would be at. I'll talk to my partner. Let's see if we can figure something out. And yeah, either way, Sheldon, I really appreciate you. And if it's not this one, then we'll get another. Cool. Thank you, Sheldon. Bye. So this is an interesting one. It's an agent and a uh, a seller. So it's kind of like a more of a direct to seller call. Uh,
Just so you know, once you took the headset off, we could only hear you talking. We couldn't hear them talking.
yeah, rough. It's because my headset ran out of batteries. So I'm gonna move out of my office because I'm probably annoying everybody in my office right now. Like with this call. Hold on a second.
If you want to also, if you have a second monitor and you put the call on the second monitor, it should start to come
I don't
through.
have another monitor. Just give me, unfortunately. I'm gonna connect these headphones to it. I will explain what happened in that call. That sucks you guys can hear it. Sorry about that.
We could hear you talking, but
Well, did you guys? Oh, here, hold on. I'll explain what was happening there. Basically, it was a direct to seller call. The guy's like, "Hey, wait, that's way too low of an offer. I'm not desperate to sell." And I'm like, "Yeah, look, we talked about it last time. You already told me it's too low. When we talked last time, you told me you were gonna tell me where you would be at." And he's like, "Where are you getting that number from?" Right? And that's kind of what you were hearing me do was explain like the numbers. I'm like, the issue because he was like 15 to 30 grand. That's not that much money. I'm like, yeah, that's like probably like minimal rehab, and then also you're bordering commercial, right? That's an issue, right? And I was just like explaining that to him, and then he's like, yeah, but there's a commercial, and then it was like, I was like, hey, like don't worry about it. Like I'm not trying to be in an argument here, and he's like, I'm not trying to be in an argument either. It's like, yeah, let's just like see if we can make it work. If we can't, hey, I totally get it. And then he went off on like people offering him seller financing, and I'm like, well, I didn't even offer you that, so I don't know why we're talking about that right now. But okay, like whatever. And yeah, so Anyway, that's what was happening there. So hopefully, all right, let's see if you guys can hear it this time for the next call. I'm sorry, I feel bad that nobody could hear it.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, sorry. When you guys are like messaging me, I can't see any of that if I'm just on the call.
No, you're all good.
Okay, so let's I guess keep going because I guess there's not much if we can hear half of that, but
All right. If you want to make a call real quick, I'll let you know. If you just want to dial somebody, I can tell you if we can hear it.
okay.
We can't hear it.
No? Yes?
Nope.
Okay, weird. Hold on. Stop sharing. Share screen. Oh, okay, I did screw that up. Share screen, entire screen, share audio. All right, let's try now. Let's try it now.
All right. Your screen's up. Still can't hear it.
No, hold on. Hold on. Yes, no? Hey,
Hello?
Janet. Hey, Janet, how are you? It's Jonah.
Good.
Good. I was just checking
Who's this?
in. It's Jonah, real estate investor. We were talking about East Long Drive a little while back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious if you knew of any other fixers other than that. I was just checking in, just seeing, because like we talked about East Long Drive. I don't think I could make that one work, but I was just curious if you knew of any others or if it's just East Long Drive right now.
That's pretty much what I got going right now. Maybe
Okay.
something down the next month or two.
Okay.
Might have something, but just kind of way preliminary.
Okay, cool. I still really appreciate you, Janet, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so the reason why I didn't talk about the one that we were talking about here is because she just listed it. What happened here was I was way too low, and she's like, we can get way higher than that. I'm like, okay, well, do it then. And so they're trying right now, but it's only been listed 4 days, so that was a little bit of a premature call, I would say. What's happening here? Oh yeah, 7 Oklahoma. I had to talk to them about that in like a week. Hey, Carlita.
Hi.
Hey, this is Jonah, the real estate investor. I was curious if anything, I know you were working on that probate one. I'm just curious I know you said there wasn't really a timeline on it. I'm just curious if anything's happened with that one yet.
Nope, still waiting.
Okay, cool. Know of any others? I know there's the buyer one. I don't think that one will work for us, but do you know of any others or just those two?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
No
But
worries.
you're on the top of my list if something does come across.
Carlita, I appreciate that.
I keep driving by this one that seems abandoned. I'm trying to get information on it and who owns it.
Do you know how to skip
Do you do commercial stuff too?
I do.
Or not so much?
Sometimes. I mean, I do multifamily. I don't do as much like a shop or something. But yeah, why?
Because there's like an abandoned commercial building that my other clients want to buy, but they kind of want it fixed up.
Okay.
So
What
I'm thinking
type of
maybe you could buy it,
commercial
fix it, and then sell it to them. You said what?
What type of commercial building?
It was a furniture store. They want to turn it into a dance studio.
Yeah, that's
Not really my bread and butter. Like when I do commercial, it's usually multifamily type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I really appreciate you, Carlita. And yeah, let's
No
talk soon.
problem. And I'm going to try to find out about these other two. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What are the other two?
Sorry. Well, they just, like every time I drive by them, it doesn't look like anybody lives there. So I just have to get some more information on them.
Okay, cool. Do you know how to skip trace?
I don't have any pictures of it.
No, do you know what skip tracing is?
Wait, say that again?
Skip tracing? You ever heard of it?
Get drift?
No. Skip tracing? It's the process of, like, there are websites where you can put in an address.
Oh,
and then
skip tracing.
Yeah, and then find their phone number.
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about that.
Here, this is
That's actually a good idea.
This is the one that I use. I just sent you over a website.
Okay.
This is one I use. You can literally
Okay.
put an address and buy. It's like $1 per house, and you can just spend $2 and get people's phone numbers.
Oh, heck yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Well, let's do it. All
Let's do
right.
it. Yeah, that's super helpful. So, thank you, Carlita. Let me know if it works, and let's get a deal.
Yes, let's do it. All righty. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Luke, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you guys use for skip tracing? Because I don't actually skip trace. It's like I don't do direct to seller that much.
Yeah. That is a wonderful question. Sarah, do you know?
We use two. We either do batch skip or prop stream. Normally we use prop stream. Rarely we use batch skip. But we do have a discount on prop stream. So if you ever do need help with prop stream, we do have codes. So
Cool. Yeah, I don't know what the good skip tracing is anymore.
What was the site that you just gave, Jonah?
I give them batch.
Oh, okay.
I give them batch because I just don't know. I'm not up to date on the skip tracing.
I just put in the link for prop stream with a discount if anyone ever needs skip tracing or anything like that.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right. My dispo has to get back to me on these 3 leads that I gotta submit offers on. He's getting on them, but because I don't know what to offer them quite yet.
Do you want to, if you want to, on some of them, are these in disclosure or non-disclosure states?
They're in disclosure. Like I have what I think the ARV is, right?
Yeah. Would you want to like share your screen or something like that? And we could just like take our best guess at ARV it just to like,
Sure,
you don't have to
if
go
you guys
off
want
of it, but it might be fun for people to see like, oh, okay, how would we comp this or that?
I mean, yeah, like yeah, sure, let's do it. So here's one of them. We can do some comping. So this one's in Pueblo. He's selling it for 110,000. Actually, it says 120K foreclosure, but he said no, I'll give it to you for 110. This one, to me, I like using Zillow. Do you guys use anything other than Zillow? I like Zillow the most usually. I use that in Privy sometimes.
Zillow is what we primarily use, especially when we're teaching, because it's like so easy that like everyone has access to it. But yeah, PropStream is good too if you have access to that or your local MLS.
So it's a really small house, 2 beds, 1 bath, 828 square feet. This is already pretty good off the top. I would take 10K off for that extra bed. So far, let's see if I even add it. That looks like 173 square feet. Or 173,000, right? But it sold a while ago. I'm pretty sure that's.
Could I get the address too, just to throw it in Zillow as well?
Sure, 1429 East 3rd Street, Pueblo, Colorado. Pueblo is they have very cheap houses.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah, foreclosure, 120, 2 beds, 1 bath, 828 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
Investor special. 1 day on Zillow, 2 whole saves.
Yeah. There's this one. We got to keep looking around. A lot of these are bigger. That's the hard part with this one. It's like 115K.
So I see a 3-1 that's 888 square feet that sold for 183, but doesn't even look that renovated.
Yeah, that's the one that's like the main one I've been using. Pueblo, not many things are renovated, like renovated. It's a buy and hold market in Colorado. It's like where people like flip in Denver and then just use the 100K they made on that flip to just buy a house straight up in Pueblo and get $1,200 a month in cash flow.
Oh wow, yeah. If you put the parameters to only show you houses that are like 1,200 square feet or less, it takes out almost everything.
Yeah, there aren't that many comps. I had to eventually, I was like, okay, I'm going to cross this 96 just because I want to see if there are any other comps, just because I'm curious. But yeah, that 183 is doing the most amount of work for sure. 100%. But I just wanted to look around. Like there are some other ones that support it. They're just farther away. Like there's this 195.
Yeah, there's
like 150s.
Yeah, there's one that's across that. What street is that? That's 4th Street that sold for 195. Is that the one you were talking about just now?
There was one that sold. Yeah. The one that wasn't the one. The one that across 4th Street is bigger by a lot.
It is bigger, yeah. It's a 400 square feet bigger, and it's renovated. Sold for 195, but it is like again, it's across a major road. So we're looking at different
I
areas.
don't know, it's not my favorite. The only like actually good comp is that East 2nd Street Pueblo one. It basically what I put it at. I said like incredibly conservative ARV. Probably what did I put? I bet I put like one. I put like I went really conservative with 135. That comp could make it higher, like 175. But it's
right. If you cross 4th, like if you go north of 4th, it looks like those houses are older though.
Yeah.
Because like yours is a 40s build, and it looks like there's a couple new builds in that area too. Whereas like the couple I was looking at on across 4th, like there's one comp here. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 926 square feet, sold for 196. They did like some like terrible stucco on the outside, and it sold for 196. So
yeah, it's a hard one to tell. I'm probably I might even say first one so might be 175K. Yeah, like I was thinking that, and then because the houses are so cheap, you have to go 50% of ARV, just because like you're still putting in 30 grand into the house, and that your ARV is 195. So that one, my guess, like I can show you guys my analysis too. So this was my analysis. It was like at this one, it's a little bit old. It's an older sale, which I don't like. There are other ones that were 195, and there's some 150s across the way, but they weren't as there. I was going 135K conservatively. The thing is, the house would rent for 1,000 to 1,100. So what I did was like, all right, let's just do the 1% rule, because also they go off the 1% rule. So like that would basically, I think it needs 20 to 30K. So the 1% rule is basically like if it rents for 1,000, you can buy it for 100% of that, right? So you times it by 100. So it's like 100,000, but then it probably needs like 20 to 30K in rehab. So I was thinking like 75K. I think it'll sell for like 75 to 85K, probably. and they want 110 for it.
Right,
So-
and that one's going to foreclosure. You said, do you know how much they still owe on that loan?
So I asked him. I was like, so it said it's going to foreclosure on Zillow, and he's like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't think they're in foreclosure. I'm like, okay, don't know about that, but all right. But yeah, that's just one I'm waiting on right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. So there's that one. We can comp some more.
Yeah, let's do another one. Yeah, I think you should push. Well, I guess if they're just going off rents, then yeah, I guess 100,000. But man, I think you should push a little bit higher than that. But it's true. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of flipper activity in here. I did see one.
Pueblo's a small market. It's not like it's like Pueblo. If you look at where that is in Colorado, it's kind of it's like not the middle of nowhere. It's like just the smallest city that I think is actually a real place technically in Colorado.
So something interesting though, I'm curious. I think the one on 1501 East 7th Street in Pueblo, I think that one was a flip. It might not have been, but I think it was, because like looking at it, like it has like those new gray like laminate floors. It has like the white countertops. Has like a nice backsplash. Like nice. I don't know. It's like, it's nice. And it looks like somebody bought it. Was that July of 2022, and then they relisted it like, I don't know, about a year later. So maybe it was an owner who just went in and fixed up while they lived in it. But I think it might be worth calling that agent and seeing if the person who sold that one or bought that one was like the person who had it before the current person who currently lives in it, if that person flipped it, because they might be someone who will give you numbers on it.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Not a bad idea, for sure. Yeah, that's one of the best ways of finding buyers too. Okay.
I wonder. Actually, out of curiosity, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try keywords renovated, and I'm just gonna.
Let's share your screen. Let's see what you're doing instead of my screen, Luke.
All right. Well, yeah. I guess let's try. Let me show my second screen if it'll let me. Don't show tips again. Share screen. Window. All right. I think we're here. Okay, so you'll notice a couple things. I have two tabs open, just because I like doing that. Over here, I put keywords renovated. I'll just take that off so you can see what it looked like before. So this is kind of like what we were looking at before for comps and things like that. And then usually what I'll do in my second screen is I'll just have our property up. So in case I want to like refresh on like what our details are. So then I'm over here. And so obviously we're just looking around. This is the 183 that we were talking about, right? That seems like the most similar square footage. Again, right? Like if we're just, since ours is so small, so what I first did is it's like, okay, I want to see like how many properties we have that are more or less our same size. And so then what I did is, again, I'm just making sure we're in the last 12 months. If we have like, if it's already too many comps, then I might like shrink this down to 6 months. But so then what I did is I just went to square footage. I actually just said no min, and then max, I was like 1250. And then I hit apply. And did that work? Yes. And so then that took away some of the comps, right? Yeah. So then we just have like some lots here, some random stuff. Then I saw this 195 over here, and we have this 150 over here. We have a 190 over here. I actually didn't see this one before. This is even smaller than ours. Of course, it is in like a different area. I want to see how old this is, though. 1904. Yeah, so it does seem like once we cross the 4th that the houses over here are older. So then I was like, okay, I want to see. So then I went to keyword searches. I want to see like, okay, like let's say Jonah gets this deal and he wants to try dispoing it himself. One of the things he could do is he could, see what sold in the area, and then he could go keyword searches and he could go renovated. And then what we would do at that point is we would just take off the max and we'd apply. And so this will show us everything that has like renovated in the description, right? And so you'll see that there's actually literally nothing renovated. Like there's no flipper activity apparently in this little section where our house is. So again, to Jonah's point, he was like, yeah, this is really like a buy and hold area. And it certainly seems like that. But there are a couple of houses just up north a bit that looks like they were renovated, right? Which again, this is how we came across this house, and we look at it, like we see like, okay, this looks like it's slightly newer flooring, you know, here's this backsplash I was talking about. And so then I was just like, okay, yeah, this looks like it could have been a renovation. So then the next thing I did, and we see here, stunning in the overview, right? This stunning ranch style house has been meticulously renovated, right? So we see here, it talks about it. And then we can go look at the timeline. And this is also, keep in mind, like Jonah's house is a 1940s build. This one's a 1926, so still older, which again is probably, even though it's bigger, like maybe one of the reasons it didn't sell for as much as someone might have wanted is because it's so old. And it looks like they originally listed it for 200. So they're thinking, thinking of that. Anyways, but yeah, so somebody bought it. Somebody bought it in 2022 and then sold it in 2023, right? So it's like that could have been someone who was flipping it during that time, maybe, right? And someone here says that it was renovated. So then like what I would do is we see that Cole here is the listing agent. So then I would just call Cole and be like, hey, Cole, I see that you recently sold this house. I was actually looking at one in the same area. I was just curious. The person who was like selling the house, were they like did they flip that house and you listed it on the back end for them? Like, are they a flipper? And so if they are, then I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, well, would they be interested in another one in this sort of area? Like maybe give them some cross streets or something like that, or see what their buying criteria is, something like that. And then it just gives you a little bit more information about about that area, about what flippers are looking for. And you can just do the same thing over here, right? Like this one, in the description, they're gonna say that it was renovated somewhere in here. But then we can just look at the pictures. We can look at same process, when it was bought, when it was sold, go through the same thing, call the realtor and be like, yo, were you representing an investor who flipped the property? If so, are they looking for another project? Like, what's their criteria? That sort of stuff. So that's just random stuff that I was looking at.
Nice.
Awesome. We got a question from Jacob in the comments. He said, can you set up an automated text message to realtors that answer your auto text? So when you say any properties and they say nothing yet, is there an automation you can set up that says no worries? Not sure how you could have SimplSend know what to reply and when not to reply when they say, yes, I have a deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So sorry. Let me see that. You said about automated that answer your auto text. So when you say any property that say nothing yet, it's an automated. Yeah, you can. I don't, but you could do that, right? Yeah, you could have it where it's automatically set up like that. I don't like doing that because I've had trouble like having it pick up exactly that. But yeah, no, you can have it automatically text for you, things like that.
Tyler will be on it too, and he's going to go over some system stuff. So he'll be on in 4 minutes. So we can also have Tyler show you how to do that if you were wondering how to do it.
Yeah, he'll do more system stuff. Yeah, we could do a Q&A, or I could do one more call, guys. What are you guys thinking? Audience members, right? I was reviewing a contract right now. It's like what I've been doing because like we're about to sign one or double close one, like reviewing the contracts they sent. I think it's good. Overall, I'm like just reviewing the contracts. I don't know if we find that boring or not. Just making sure that people are not screwing things up.
Makes sense. I think we should probably just wrap your portion up with some Q&A. Jonah does have to leave. He's got some stuff to do. So
who's got questions about any of the calls, anything at all, right? Talk to us about what you are looking for when you say good or not good. I don't know what that means.
Probably like good property versus not good property. I could be incorrect, Jacob, if you want to clarify.
a quote unquote good property for an investor is one that needs an insane amount of work. There's squatters everywhere. It's in pre-foreclosure. The more distress, the better. Oh, good in the contract. You're talking about via the contract I was looking at. Just because it's a double close, I was just making sure that most of the terms are mirrored, right? You really want to make sure that, like, if you're going to double close, the contracts look similar at least. They can be different, but like if they say completely different things, that creates issues, obviously. But like you want to make sure the closing date is the same. You want to make sure that the EMD is more on the B2C contract. Just things like that. The names are right. Stuff like that. Things like that is what I look for.
Yeah, I can actually give an example. Speaking of, since Jacob also asked like terrible mistakes. There's also a mistake where we were like double closing or assigning a property where on our contract it said that we were supposed to close on like the 15th or something like that. And then the buyer's contract said that he was supposed to close on like the 23rd or something, just something like that, where there wasn't enough communication between the ACK and the dispo person and the TC, and like nobody caught it. And then like close came, and then One Roof ended up owning that property for a little bit, and then the buyer ended up backing out. And so then One Roof just owned that property. So if you ever talk to Brendan, who's one of Austin's partners, he'll tell you about that fun experience that he had. So yeah, he also, like, whenever there's like any sort of those types of contracts, you always want to make sure, exactly like Jonah was saying, that the terms are matched, because otherwise you could, get yourself in a fun situation like that.
For sure. All right, we got Tyler here. So Tyler's gonna go over some system stuff. So if you guys have anything, anything systems related, let us know. Jonah, it was great having you. We appreciate you. We love you. Hopefully you can pop on for a little bit later, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So
Gotta do what I gotta do. I'll see you guys later.
Right,
wait, Jonah. Oh, okay, you're here. Can you can you confirm for tomorrow?
I'm trying. I've been texting about the about getting your buyers into that open property. I've been doing it while on the live at the same time. Don't worry. I'm the greatest multitasker ever. Do we get him up? Did we get the other guy up 25K? Can we just make that happen?
Not yet.
Get the coach that other wholesaler. So we get that done.
It's John and Elena.
What? How is that even possible? They have California buyers?
They do through Investor Lift.
Okay. Well, let me know. Because apparently we have way more time though. So like I'm like, all right, whatever, I guess.
All right. The other two are not through them, so I've got those guys.
Yeah, that'd be better. All right. Bye guys.
Bye. All right, Tyler, we did have somebody ask. First of all, wait, I'm not even going to get into that. How are you doing? How's your day so far?
I'm good. Stuff. I'm doing good. Just trying to get some deals done. I'm still on the dispo side of things right now. So, just trying to get them sold.
Nice. Okay, so Jacob did ask this. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but would you be able to show us how we could automate it to reply using keywords and things like that?
Yeah. Let me see if I can do that. Let me open a demo account really quick.
Sounds good. And then if any of you have any systems related questions about SimplSend, want to see how something works, or you're thinking about getting this here and things like that, let us know. We'd love to show you anything like that. And then if you also have questions for Tyler too, because Tyler does wholesale. He's great at it. He's amazing at what he does. So if you guys have any wholesale related questions for Tyler, feel free to ask those as well.
Thank you so much. All right, let me share my screen.
Awesome.
Hey, I know that guy. What's up, Jacob? Luke, have you been here for the whole thing?
I'm just chilling.
What a keeper. Absolute G. Okay. You guys can see, yeah?
Yes, we can.
All right. Let's just. Okay, Jacob. In order for you to do this, you'd have to make like a new follow-up. Instead of like instead of adding it to the existing follow-up, if that makes sense. So I'm going to create a new one from scratch. We'll just call it AI follow-up. So I was thinking about, Jacob, I remember I remember your question from yesterday, and I was actually thinking over that after I had answered it, and I think I was wrong because the conversations AI action would work. However, what the conversations AI action does is it reviews the conversation history. So if you, let's say 2 follow-ups go out, one follow-up goes out, the agent responds no. Another follow-up goes out that's from the actual AI, and they respond yes. Well, when the AI reviews the conversation, they're going to see the first follow-up of no first. So the AI is going to think like, oh, the agent doesn't have anything. I hope that makes sense. So we're going to have to do it in a different way, not the conversation AI thing. So all you do is you would put SMS action, and this is where you put your follow-up, like, hey, do you have any properties? Let's just say that is your follow-up. And then you will add a wait time for however long you want it to wait, right? I would do the 14 days that you have, or that's already there. So wait 14 days, but instead of just a regular time delay, we're gonna wait for a response. Wait for contact reply, and we're gonna wait for a reply to that text message for 14 days. Now, if the contact replies, we want it to go 1 branch. If the contact does not reply, we want it to go down another branch. So we have to create an if else action, and this first branch would be called replied. And all we have to do is set the criteria for how do we know if the contact replied. Well, you just select contact replied is true. So now if they replied within the 14 days to that text message, they're going to go down this replied branch. If they didn't, they're going to go down this none branch. So now if they replied, we need to be able to have it analyze what the realtor is saying, right? So this is where we're going to use a little bit of AI. Now keep in mind, this does cost extra to use these actions. I'll get back to you on how much extra. I think if I remember correctly, it's like 3 cents per use. So keep that in mind, something around that range. So it's kind of expensive. But what I'll name this is I want it to analyze the response. So I'm just going to name it for clarity. Analyze. How do you spell analyze? Like that? Analyze realtor response. And then we want to analyze text sentiment. So we're going to generate an analysis of the sentiment of the input text. So this is where we actually input what the text is that the AI is analyzing. So we want to have it autofill whatever the realtor responded, so that way the ChatGPT can analyze that response. So you're going to add this little tag, or click this little tag, and we're going to select this little message option, and then select message body. And so what that's going to do is it's going to autofill whatever the response to that SMS was, right? So now the AI is analyzing their response. And now we need to give it instructions on what we want it to do. So what we would do here is basically give it the instructions. So you're going to say something along the lines of, I am a real estate investor, and I sent a follow-up text to a real estate agent that I know to see if they have any properties available or coming up, or that they're working on. Now that now that I've given it context, maybe I'll give it some more context. My text to the realtor was, and then you're just going to give it an example. Hey, or you can actually just copy and paste so it just knows. So it knows that was my text to the realtor. Do you have any properties? Now I'm going to give it instructions on what I want it to do. Okay, so action type, I guess I was wrong. You had to select custom, not sentiment analysis. So now I'm going to give it instructions. What do I want it to do? Hey, actually, I'm getting a call from a buyer right now. Should I take that? They just saw a property.
Yes, take it.
Hello?
Take it. We come back to this.
Any key to connect.
Hey, Flavio, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. How'd it go, brother?
Yeah, the house is a lot of work.
I bet.
Yeah, like the floor is caving in. Like, yeah, so it needs,
Oh,
it needs
geez.
pretty much everything, bro.
Say that again?
Oh, sorry. So I said it needs pretty, it's almost like a rebuild in a way. Is there any room for on this one, or?
I mean, honestly, not a whole lot. We've been trying to market it for a couple of days. We haven't had anyone jump on it too quickly. So definitely happy to have a conversation with you, but it's not a whole lot of room on our end, to be honest with you. What are you thinking?
Got it. Yeah, because just the ballpark numbers to fix up this place. Yeah, because we talk about roofing, windows. I mean, the subfloor it's all caving. I'd say easily like 150K. Somebody will have to.
Really?
And yeah, no. It needs pretty much everything.
Yeah, even on a 600 square foot house, you think it's going to be that much?
No, I mean I know it's not a lot of square footage, but we're talking about roof.
Mm-hmm.
All of the siding is shot.
Mm-hmm.
Windows. All the subfloor is all rotted, so we have to redo the subfloor.
Mm-hmm.
Staircase. Clean up. When you talk about kitchen, bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
electrical, plumbing. Yeah, it'll be up there.
Yeah, it needs everything.
The house I mean, it needs everything.
Yeah.
It's not one of those houses that you can go in and say, oh, okay, it's just kitchen, bathroom, and it needs everything.
Yeah.
There's probably just in termite alone, it's a lot of termites. I think that's why they put it on the market. There has to be an investor to buy it.
Yeah.
Because comp-wise, I'll say it'll be probably like low 500s. That's my, So, and you guys are asking for 337, correct?
I think we put it out at 330. Yeah, 337, I believe is what we put it out at. I'd have to double check the exact number. I don't have it in front of me. Give me 30 seconds if you don't mind. Hold on. Yeah. So, okay. So our number actually, we can do a better price for you. Actually, we put it out at 335. And yeah, I think we were trying to be a little conservative on the ARV. We were saying around 515, because there's a lot of comps in the area that are selling, mid fives, but we're a little bit smaller, not the best, curb appeal. So we were kind of putting it down to around 515. What do you think about that?
Is it like ARV around 515?
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. And then we were looking to move it at 335.
think if the house is completely ripped down,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it could be somewhere around there, like low 500, yeah, like
Yeah.
315.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when you're, assuming 516, then if I have to pay, 5% commission, just commission alone, that's about 26K plus, at a 150 remodel, there's no money to be made. Like, basically, if you spend 100K, then you'll be making, somewhere around 30K on this house.
Yeah. Where do you think you? I can have a conversation with my partner on it. Just to be completely honest with you, I'm not the decision maker on the price. As far as if we were able to get it moved at our asking price, we could get it moving forward right away. But if it's anything lower, I'd have to just confirm that with my partner before being able to give you a confirmation. So where do you think you'd come in at where you can, sign a deposit today?
Do you guys have the prelim on this property? Do you have the prelim?
I believe we do. I don't have it in hand, but I think title already got through all of that, so we could try to get it for you. But we won't close until we have that, and we would make sure that it's got clear title. So that's not anything to worry about.
Sure, okay. Now I'd like just to take a quick look at the prelim, just to see, make sure there's nothing, against the property, like any easement that goes through.
Yeah, we can get that to you. We can get that to you.
And then when you guys need to close this one by?
Let me see when the closing date is. Give me one sec. So our closing date for this one is on the 25th. How quickly do you think you could close on it?
Okay, so 2 days is 13. You should be able to close by, like on before the end of the month, for sure. 25th, 26th, yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's cool. And it'll be vacant by then too, if it's not already vacant. So.
No, appears to be vacant. Unless somebody, when I went there was no one there. I'm not sure. But,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's vacant. I'm pretty sure it's vacant right now, so you'll be good.
And then another question that I had, who is paying for all the closing costs? Because that's also gonna, impact it. Yeah, because the margins are not very high. So who's paying for all of the closing costs on this one?
So
like county and city transfer. I'm not sure if this one has city transfer tax. I'm not sure if it's a unincorporated area, because some of them are, and yeah.
Yeah, this one I believe is just the county tax. On the contract, it wasn't specifically stated that anyone would pay for city transfer tax. But because it was a little bit of a tighter deal, in order to make it work for us, we were actually able to negotiate with the seller. So we got them to pay their own escrow fees, and so each party is just paying their own escrow fees. The buyer will pay for the title insurance policy, but the seller will pay for the counter transfer tax or the county transfer tax. So it'll save you some money on the closing costs.
Yeah, and who is the escrow company that you guys using for this one?
For escrow?
Yeah.
We use WFG National Title with Melissa, if you know her.
Oh yeah, WFG.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay, please send me the prelim, and then if you want to talk to your partner to see.
Yeah, I want to be able to go back to him and say, hey, look, if we can make this number work, we got a deal done, and we can sign a deposit as long as we get a prelim over to you. Where do you think you'd be coming in at?
I mean, do you think you guys can be like 315, 320, or no?
I'd have to see. I think that's pretty cutting. I think that's cutting it close to what our contract price is. I think we'd be able to probably get something done at like 325. Do you think that's possible, or is that cutting it for you?
325. Okay. Send me the prelim.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that there's no, no violations, no all other things that I have to. Yeah. Let's see how we can make it work. But I think let's see. Yeah.
Because if I get, I'll talk to my partner right now and see if I can get him off the price a little bit right now. So, and then I'll get the prelim to you. So if the prelim looks good, and there's nothing additional on there, then 325, is that a number that you can do?
I think I can do 325. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can make it happen for you, man. I'll give you a call back. Can you give me like, I don't know, I'll try to make it happen within the next 30 minutes. We just got to get the prelim from title, and then email that over to you, and then we can go from there. If it all looks good, we can write up the agreements and get it over into escrow. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you in a bit. All right. We'll see if we can get something done.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks, brother. You have a great one. Bye.
All right, let's talk about that, Luke.
Let me see if that's a doable price.
Yeah, that's great. And it's funny too, because we just talked about yesterday, like the importance of sometimes just being silent and being quiet. Because like if you don't do that, then you can ruin the negotiation. So yeah, that's just another perfect example of that.
Yeah, Tyler might just be a master at doing that.
Let me call my guy right now, because I think we could do that.
Awesome.
We might have a deal sold right here live, baby.
Whoa!
Has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Double tap, Tyler, double tap.
Always, baby.
Your call has.
He's busy. He usually answers my calls.
All right, well, we'll just have him call back. That's exciting, though.
I think we've got the contract at 300, so we're chilling.
Boom, baby.
And we've been trying to market this for, he's been trying to market it for probably over a week. I've been doing it for a few days, so I think that he'd be down. This is a JV deal, so I think he'd be down to get it going. Especially because that deal that we just did, the deal breakdown of that deal that I sold, it's the same wholesaler, so he'll be stoked.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Tyler on that call? Want to comment on anything he did? I feel like I haven't heard anybody in a while. We'd love you guys to participate a little bit so we can talk to you.
Yeah, while we're waiting for questions to come in, I just want to highlight one thing. And you guys probably noticed that Tyler asked for a number like 5 times, right? And the reason for that is typically whoever gives the number first in the negotiations is at a weaker point. And so it's like you want them to give you the number, because then you can go off of it. Whereas if you change your number first, then you're in a worse position, right? Because maybe Tyler, like if Tyler hadn't pushed for the number and Tyler was the first one to give a number, maybe Tyler would have said, 310, 315, whatever, right? And the buyer
almost did, by the way. I almost shot myself in the foot, because I almost said we have to be above 300.
Right.
And I stopped myself. I would have shot myself in the foot, because I would not have gotten him to say that 325 is a good number. So.
Right. And that's the thing too, is you have to remember, typically when unless a buyer is coming in at your wholesale price, typically when a buyer gives you their first offer, it's not their highest and best. So he goes like, he's long pause. Guy's probably looking some stuff up, thinking, Maybe he's running some numbers on a calculator. He comes in at 315. Okay. And Tyler's first assumption is like, okay, that 315 is probably not his highest and best. Let me see if I can push him a little bit. So then Tyler comes in at 325, and the guy goes, yeah, we could probably make that work. So, and then also, so after he says, we could probably make that work, Tyler goes, okay, now assuming that everything is good on the preliminary, right? There's no easements, there's nothing weird going on. Can you move forward at that number? The guy goes, yeah, we can move forward at that number. So, and there's just like little small things too that gets the person into the mindset of, oh, I'm buying this property. Like, for example, the guy's like, oh, when is close? Tyler goes, oh, the close is the 25th or whatever it was. Can you close by then? Or are you able to close by then? So, right, it's just assuming like, oh yeah, you're going to buy this property. Can you close at that point? Right. And the guy goes, yeah, I can close by, I should be able to close by then. I don't love how he said by the end of the month. And he's like, maybe the 25th or 26th. So that might be something to look out for. But it's just like that type of questioning gets the person in the mindset of, yes, I'm moving forward on the property, which is good. That's what you want them to be in that mindset when they're talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. As soon as he was asking me those questions, I knew it was a wrap. I had this guy. But all right, back to the automation, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Right. And then Joey said that was a great call, Tyler. Duff took down some great notes from that call. Good stuff. So
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
awesome. All right. Your screen's back up if you want to get back into it. Jacob did have to leave, he said. And he said he'll come back to watch the recording. But if you do want to go through it, that would be awesome.
Sure. All right. So we were working on the prompt, right? So I gave the AI is like a human, right? You got to give it some context so it knows why it's doing the thing, right? So told them I'm a real estate investor. Gave them the example of the question that I asked the realtor. Now, just keep in mind this prompt that I'm writing may not be perfect. So you, Jacob, and whoever's doing this may have to kind of mess around with the prompt and test out what works best. But I'm just giving you an example. So where was that? My text to the realtor was, hey, do you have any properties? So now I'm going to say, I want you to review the realtor's response below and determine if the realtor has any properties coming up available coming up or
Determine has an E at the end, just so you know.
Thank you. As you guys can see, English was not my
You're all good.
not my best grade. Determine if the realtor has any properties available coming up or that they have or that they are working on. Okay, and then I'm gonna just put realtor's response.
Tyler, after you finish this, would you be able to send me a mock text or something and then have me respond and see what happens?
Yeah, we could definitely do that. All right, I want you to review the realtor's response below, determine if the realtor has any properties available coming up or that they are working on. Here's the realtor's response.
Awesome. We got Austin on here too. Tyler's going through some stuff, but Austin is
What's going on, Tyler?
What's good, brother? You just missed the best call of the century.
What the heck? Tell me
Tyler
about
just got a deal.
We're selling a deal right now, baby.
Dude, let's go, bro. That's what I'm talking about. What market?
It's in Martinez, California.
Nice. You think it'll be a good deal?
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to dispo it at 335. We've got the contract at 300. Buyer came in around 315, got him up to 325. It's a JV deal, so just need to talk to the acquisitions wholesaler. He said he's on a Zoom call right now. He's going to call me right back, but should be able to get this thing locked in.
Dude, let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Sick. So right now we're trying to build some AI bots, Jacob had a question to see if we could build something that auto detects from a follow-up if a realtor responds, whether they have something or whether they don't. So that's what we're putting together right now.
Let's go.
So All right, so we got the analyzer basically here. The temperature is going to be like, how strict do you want it to be? So I think I want it pretty strict, right? I want it to follow my instructions pretty strict. So the lower the number, the more specific it's going to be on your prompting. So I put 0.1. And then what we'll do here is add an if, or what I'll do is actually tell it to respond yes or no. So I'll put, if the realtor has something, here we go. If the realtor has any properties available coming up or that they are working on, please respond with yes. And don't worry, we're not going to make the AI respond back to the realtor, but this is just so we can have an output or a determination. If the realtor responds with nothing, no, or mentions they don't have anything, respond with no.
I love your keyboard, Tyler. I like it. So like it's like ASMR.
Oh, can you hear it? That's
yeah,
funny.
It sounds great.
I don't have. Oh, I'm not even using my headphones. Do you want me to use my headphones as my microphone?
And if you want to, we can hear your calls otherwise because you're doing your calls on your phone. So it doesn't matter. Whatever works best for you.
Worse or better?
I think it might be. Wait.
It's worse or better?
I think it's a little bit worse.
Let's just go.
Okay.
All right.
And then if
Right.
anybody has any questions for Austin or Tyler while Tyler's doing this, make sure you're commenting all of this.
Yes, comment them and then oh yeah, now I can see.
All right. So, all right, we have the analyzer. It's going to determine now yes or no. So now we need to make an if else option here. So if the answer is yes, it goes in probably, either just leaves it in the conversations or maybe notifies someone. Or if it's no, it can just respond something that I want it to respond. So we'll do another if else and we'll name this branch yes. So the option we're going to set here is GPT, and we're going to select the analyze realtor response. And I'm going to put contains yes. And then this one is going to be no. Chat GPT contains no. And then this one is if neither were met. So the AI just did not know. So if the answer is yes, we can just have it, go to the next follow-up, right? So what we would do from there is if there was no response to this initial text message, then it's going to go under the none section. You would put the next follow-up message basically. So here, we'll put internal notification, and I'll just put contact first name as a property. And it will notify the person who has a property. It's going to notify the assigned user. And then if it's no, then you would just use a go to action. And then once you have the other follow-ups here, then you would just select the action to go to that follow-up, if that makes sense. So I don't have any more follow-ups yet. So if you need help with this, whoever's watching or setting this up, if you need more help setting the rest of this follow-up up, then just schedule a call with me. But I'm going to delete that for now. And if it was none, then I'll put like an internal notification, and that will be contact first name. So it'll fill in the agent's name, and it'll just put couldn't tell if they have a lead. So then it's going to notify the person to take over that conversation. Cool. So let's try this. Oh, and then if it was a no too, maybe I want to put my own response. No worries. Thanks for letting me know. Cool. So that's just one follow-up example, right? So let's add Luke into here and see if I did this completely wrong or not. Luke, what is the best number to text here?
Do 480
480
888
888
5165.
5165.
Dude, this is sick, bro.
Thanks, man.
Now,
Tyler,
Tyler, do you want me to respond?
genius.
Do you want me to respond with a yes or a no? Which part of the branch do you want to test out?
Let's do both. You could try no first.
All right. You want a mean no or a nice no?
Just say nothing right now.
All right.
We'll see. All right, should send a text.
Oh, okay. I got a text message.
All right, nothing right now. Whoo, look at that, baby.
No worries. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, boom, baby. Wow. And that was just automatic.
That was just
Dang.
automatic. So let's do it
that means
again.
if Tyler does like a bulk message drip or something like that, he doesn't have to worry about responding to the no's.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Tyler, do you want to text me and then see if I say yes, how it responds?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Sounds good.
What is your number?
602
602
819
819
8365.
8365. So what it's going to do is it's not going to respond back, but I'll get a notification on my phone that says that you have a lead. So we'll see if I get that notification.
Beautiful. Then how exactly do you want me to respond with that?
You could just put working on one. We'll let you know. I don't know. Something like that.
I got it.
All right, moment of truth. Hey, okay, so I think I didn't get it on my phone because I'm in a demo account and my phone is signed into my specific account, but I do know it worked because I can see the internal notifications up here. It says Sarah has a property. So if I was actually logged into this account on my phone, I would have gotten that notification. So looks like it worked.
Awesome. Okay, cool. That was super
There we
cool.
go.
Yeah. So I guess, Tyler, the next question is it possible to just can you just add that folder in the follow-ups for anyone who wants to just activate it and use it?
Yeah, let me build it out a little more because I got one follow-up in there. So I think I need to figure out the best way to have it continue with more follow-ups. And then I could definitely copy and paste that template into every sub account.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that is some awesome stuff that you can do with a CRM and particularly SimplSend. So that's pretty incredible, and it'll be a big time saver.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sure. Ed had a question. He said, what happens when the NAR outlaws this wholesaling like they did in South Carolina? Every other state will follow suit. I'm just asking if they said it could happen in the next year or sooner. So wholesaling isn't outlawed necessarily in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Still
There will always be a workaround. There will always be a workaround.
We're already working around it a little bit. I won't lie.
Yeah. We already have a way around it in South Carolina. At the end of the day, wholesaling's been around forever, right? People have been wholesaling for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. It just wasn't popular before social media. So there will always be a way to do it, right? And regulation might be a good thing for the industry, right? At the end of the day, when you bring regulation to an industry, it weeds out all the people who don't know what they're doing, right? It weeds out all the people who aren't down to be nimble and to pivot and to do what they have to do to keep doing it, right? Like the real business owners like me, like Luke, like Tyler, right? Like all of us, like we're going to figure out a way to do it no matter what. And if you're a part of our community or you pay attention to our stuff, then we're going to make sure that everybody that we know that is in our community, we're going to make sure that we tell them exactly how we're able to do what we're able to do, right? Like straight up, like we're going to figure it out. You know, we run a multiple 7-figure wholesaling company every year. And we're not going to just let it die because of some states trying to make it hard, right? Like at the end of the day, we're going to figure out a way. We already have been talking to our attorneys and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't even overthink it right now. South Carolina is just one state, right? Like at the end of the day, I wouldn't even really think about it. Luke, do you have any other thing to add to that for the time being?
No, that's perfect.
Tyler, is NAR doing anything specific for California? I know that's where you're mainly.
No, not that I know of, at least. I'd say the only thing that people are afraid of, at least for wholesaling in California, is by default, the contracts are not assignable. They are in the sense that like you have to disclose to every party that you are assigning. And there's a contract specifically in California called the AOAA, Assignment of Agreement Addendum. So that you have to get signed from the listing agent. If you're doing agent outreach, you have to get it signed by the buyer, you, the seller, and you have to disclose your wholesale fee, which kind of makes it sucky. So a lot of people kind of turn away from it, but I've actually been using just my own term. I just throw it in additional terms that says like I can assign it to anybody. I don't need to disclose who's buying it. I don't need to disclose how much I'm making. Seller's consent isn't necessary. And that works every time. We just use our own assignment contract. And escrow occasionally will require an AOAA for just like, I don't know, paperwork reasons. Maybe they just want to be dot all their I's and cross all their T's. But at the end of the day, at that point, we'll have deposit in, we'll have contingencies removed, and 9.9 times out of 10, the agent at that point just doesn't care. So we'll just get it done.
Awesome. Nice. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for Austin, Tyler, Luke?
Ask away, man. Ask away.
Love to get to talking to you guys. We were super active in the chat right at the beginning, and I know there are people on here, so speak up.
Yeah, anything scaling wise, like I'm in the scaling process too. Anything systems related, would love to talk about that stuff. Obviously, you've got a big baller over here, Austin, who's got a huge team. So I'm sure anybody in here who's scaling their company has questions about hiring. Best practices when hiring or things like that, where to find VAs, we can answer those too.
Yeah, 100%. I can do my best. I think I've got it figured out, Tyler. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no one's ever really sure, right? It's like, yeah, you still, no matter how big your company is, you still question whether you really are doing things right.
Yeah, you really do, dude. You really do.
Seriously. Where are you, utilizing VAs mostly in your company right now?
Me?
With you?
Are you asking me?
Oh yeah, I'm asking you. Like, where are you guys utilizing VAs mostly?
Yeah, so we have like 10 VAs that work for our wholesale company right now. Cool. 5 of them are cold calling, and then 5 of them are admin VAs. So we have quite a few admin VAs. 2 of the 5 admin VAs are in our transaction coordination department. Mm-hmm. So basically, we have like director of operations in office, American, obviously, and then she's essentially managing all the VAs, but she's managing the TC department, which we have obviously 2 VAs that are in that department. And then the other VAs that are like admin type VAs, they just help with like all kinds of stuff. They help make deal texts. They help keep people organized. They take notes when we do meetings. They do a bunch of stuff. So we have our VAs doing quite a bit. Like we we've always used VAs for quite a bit of stuff. You know, I think like any repetitive kind of like mundane task that people don't want to do, like a VA will typically be pretty fired up to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine the lead generation VAs that you have are more on your direct to seller side, right?
They're all, yeah, it's all direct to seller. So yeah, and then remember, for anybody who might not know my story, or you might not be a part of my community, right? We teach like working with real estate agents. Okay. So real estate agents, I believe, is like the #1 way to acquire property when it comes to not having to spend a bunch of money, right? Not needing a big marketing budget, not needing to pull data, skip trace data, talk to homeowners, like all that, right? Because that takes a lot of time, money, and energy. So we teach primarily, right? Me and Luke and Sarah, within our community, we run a community called Flip and Simple. For anybody who might be watching that isn't a part of that community, the primary thing that we teach is working with real estate agents, okay, and getting deals from them, and then being able to actually wholesale that, right? And we teach the process of that, how to do that, how to talk to agents, how to do everything that you and Tyler and everybody have been talking about since I got on here, right? With that being said, I've been a wholesaler for 10 years. And so we have multiple different departments because obviously I run a pretty big operation. So we do have a direct to seller department, and we do have a co-wholesaling department as well. And that's just because I'm at that point where I'm able to do all three, right? So yeah, our VAs, to answer your question, Tyler, that do the outbound cold calling, they only do that for the direct to seller department. Correct. Yep. And then on our agent department, like guys like Ethan, they're the ones that are doing actual, and by the way, Ethan, dude, like Ethan's been with us for like 5 months. Okay. And we just did a wholesale team meeting. So think about this for a second. We just have a guy. If you guys haven't met Ethan, if you're new here or you're new to following me or not a part of our community, we have a guy named Ethan. He's probably how old would you say he is there? Like 20 years old, 21?
Ethan's my age, but he's a little younger. So I think he just turned 20, like just a month ago.
So literally 20 years old. Okay. Joined my team 5-6 months ago, right? Literally joined my team. Obviously knew nothing about real estate, knew nothing about wholesaling, none of that. Ethan decided to go, him and Thomas, which is the CEO of my company, they decided that Ethan was going to be in our agent department, right? So depending on the way that we run our company is whatever department you're in, that's what you do all day, every day, right? So we don't have people like, I don't have people in my agent department also doing direct to seller, right? Like you have to stay in your lane. Okay. So Ethan comes in, joins my agent department, brand new, doesn't know anything about real estate. And last month, in the month of May, okay, Ethan closed 5 deals in the month of May, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, dude.
He's incredible, and he sold a lot more than that.
It's crazy, man. Like it just goes to show, dude, like he's literally in the top 3. Like we did our wholesale meeting today. He's in the top 3 people of our entire company. And he's only 5 months into the game, and he's only working with agents, like literally, right? And he's doing exactly what we're talking about here today, right? It's not like he has some special process that like me and Tyler and Luke and all of it, and we're not talking about right now, right? Like what we're all talking about and what I'm sure Luke and Tyler have been showing you guys for the last 2 hours and 45 minutes is exactly what Ethan is doing, right? The only difference is Ethan's doing it 8 hours a day, right? Ethan's sitting in a chair 8 hours a day and taking action, right? Where I think a lot of people are watching and, you're putting an hour a day into it. That's fine if you have another job or whatever, but just remember, you're going to get out what you put in, right? 100% of the time.
And it's funny too, because I always notice a lot of the people who join a team, they seem to see success a lot faster, especially if it's with a team that actually, has systems and processes in place. But not just because of that reason. It's because if they don't do what they need to do and they don't hit their numbers, they're fired. So like they're forced to do it all day and hit their KPIs, right? And so I see like, people who aren't a part of an actual team, who aren't forced, and they're doing it themselves for their own business. It takes them longer to see the success because they're slacking more than the people who are contracted to be on the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, again, not any magic formula or special system that we have that other people don't. It's just the fact that, our guys are hitting their numbers, and that's all it comes down to. Everyone who's doing it by themselves, you have to be disciplined enough to sit there for 8 hours and hit your numbers and make your calls. My guys, I just hired 2 people in Northern California on the agent side, and they've only been calling for 3 weeks. One of them just got 2 contracts, and the other one is literally, we have it pre-sold. We're just waiting for signatures. Like, the buyer's seeing it tomorrow. He's like 99% sure we're moving forward, but we just have to get signatures. After 3 weeks, they're already doing deals, So, but it's because they're just hitting their numbers. That's the difference, right?
For real. That's amazing, Tyler. I'm so glad to hear that. But yeah, it's all about accountability. Like, just having somebody there to let you know that you're not doing good enough if you're not doing good enough, and to let you know you're doing great if you're doing great. That's about all.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're, doing it by yourself and you don't know, people who are crushing it already, join these communities, because that's, like I'm telling you, that is going to propel your success. And even if it's not, you don't have to join, a mentorship if you can't afford it or whatever, but get out there and meet people who are doing deals, because you're going to see how they have these conversations, and you're going to see how they move, how they like carry themselves, how they talk to people, how they have phone calls and meetings and things like that. And that's definitely going to help, your performance too individually. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I love it, dude. You're so right.
Well, what questions we got in here? I see toxic levels. I don't know what that says.
That's Jesse Vega.
Oh, Jesse, what's up, brother?
He said, "Hey Tyler, I'm waiting for Google to help me with my domain name."
This has been such a big issue. So guys, if you have SimplSend, make sure you actually create a subdomain when you're connecting your domain to SimplSend to use our email services, okay? Because what will happen is, if you don't, it's going to interfere with your Google DNS settings, and so your Gmail is not going to work. And so Jesse has been having troubles because that he accidentally did that, where it interfered with his Google DNS settings, and now he cannot use his Gmail. And I tried my best to help, but there's not much I can do. Like, Google is kind of responsible for getting him what DNS records have to be added to his account in order for his Gmail to work. And now he's at the mercy of Google support, which I don't think anyone has had a fun time dealing with them. So make sure you're doing that. Just a quick disclaimer, but I'm sorry that you're having to deal with that, Jesse.
Is it possible to connect a new Gmail, or is that not it?
Yeah, it's possible to, but you have to buy a whole new domain then. So Jesse, if you want to buy a whole new domain, you could do that. But if you already applied for A2P and stuff like that, might be a little tough reapplying with the company. But try it, dude. That would be the next best option if Google is not helping, is just buy a whole new domain and get that all set up on there.
For sure. All right. What do we think we want to do? Are we thinking calls? Are we thinking we go through the system and just talk about best practices? Or
let me see if this wholesaler is available again, so I could call them and get this deal wrapped up.
Yes, for sure. Finish off that deal. That'd be so cool to be able to get a deal online.
Yeah, let me call him. He said he was on a Zoom call. He said he can call me in 20. That was at 2:26. So I'd say it's a fair time to call him right now.
Yeah, should be good to go.
Forwarded the voice. The person you're trying.
I guess guess it's going a little long today. Normally I'd double call, but I already called him. I already double called him earlier. I need to call him both times.
Yeah. Tyler, something that we could potentially do, since you have an act guy who just got a deal under contract.
Oh, he's calling me back. Sorry to interrupt you.
Maybe.
New lead.
Hello? Oh, hold on. Hello?
Hey, man.
What's good, brother? You see me a text?
Yeah, sorry to cut off the Zoom. So you can do 325. Wants to see the prelim. I can get the prelim right now. Let me send you the, or just text me its entity info, and then I'll send you the contract. I'll send you the wire instructions. When can you send EMD today? Like ASAP?
I told him, if we can get it done today, then we can make the deal work. So let me call him back and let him know, we're ready to rock and roll, and see if he can put deposit in today. If not, latest by first thing in the morning for sure, because I think cutoff's already gone. But we'll see if we can get at least a wire confirmation in.
Okay, sounds good. I'll work on getting the prelim.
Okay, cool. Thank you, brother. All right, from your knowledge, is there anything that seems weird on the prelim? Because that was what he was mostly concerned about.
Yeah, I don't think so. Nothing's popped up title-wise. It's just a fucked up house. But outside of that, I haven't heard anything title-wise that's sketchy. But let me reach out to the escrow officer. I'll get it right now.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna want to review that before signing anything. So just let me know.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks, bro. Bye. Sounds like we got a deal to me. I just gotta call his buyer back and let him know we're good to go.
Yay! That's so awesome. All right. Well, Tyler just got a deal on Lush, so I think that's pretty amazing. I don't know about y'all, but Luke's giving you a little clapping.
Your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Tyler Wanaka.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a
All right, do I double call?
Yes, absolutely, 100%, all the time. Because it's good news.
Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Tyler Wanaka.
The Google subscriber.
That's all right. He'll call me back. I'll shoot him a text.
Nice. Well, I mean, it's looking good. It's looking good. So nice job.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Boom, baby. One thing, Austin, do you have anything specifically planned that you wanted to go over? Because at some point, it might be worth, Tyler, if you just had a guy get a deal, it might be worth doing like a deal breakdown of that deal, just like how that outreach went, that sort of stuff, how those negotiations went when he was getting it under contract.
Yeah, sure. That one was a long process. Let me send this text real quick and then we can jump on that.
Yeah, I'm down for whatever. I just popped on to figure if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to help any way that I can, but I didn't have anything in particular that I wanted to cover today.
Oh, he's calling me back.
There we go.
Press any key to connect.
What's going on, Flavio? How are you?
Yeah, getting good.
Good. Hey, I just got. Oh, you're good. You're good. No worries. Just got off the phone with my partner. Was able to actually get him on board. Surprisingly, so it looks like we were able to get something done. We're working on getting the prelim right now, so that way you could review that before signing anything. But In the meantime, you think you can text me over your entity with the signer name, and we can get the agreements written up, and then we'll get the prelim and assignment over to you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll send it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. How quickly you think I can expect that to you so we can get everything going?
Yeah, you can send it. I'm driving right now. I'll send you in a few minutes. I'm on the freeway, but yeah, as soon as I get off the freeway, I'll text you. Yeah.
Yeah, drive safe. Okay, cool. I'll look out for your text. All right. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Boom, baby. Deal breakdown. Let's do it. So let me share. You guys can hear me, yeah? Okay. Where is it? All right. Let me share my screen. You guys can see, yeah?
No, not yet. I think Sarah actually might have to. There we go.
I think now I can.
Okay, cool. So this one, I mean, we might have to scroll up for a while on the conversations, but basically, I can give you a breakdown of how this thing started. So first off, the realtor here, Kemi, when she sent this deal to me, this was back prior to actually my acquisitions rep jumping on board. And she sent these leads to me, and I was kind of working on. I submitted an offer initially. Those people, we have one property with a tenant that's occupied in it or occupying it. We do have to take over the tenant on that one. I believe that they are a paying tenant, so that's a good thing. And then the seller actually owns the house that's right next door to the same property. And what happened is that second house has a squatter in the property. They are just looking to obviously offload the houses because they can't, make the payments on the properties with that squatter. So I submitted an offer. The seller has basically.
Tyler, real quick, can I interrupt real fast? So the property that you got under contract, was it one with a squatter in it?
Yeah, but we're actually getting the squatter out. So the seller had already gone through the eviction process. And the last thing that we're waiting for is to actually schedule a date for the sheriff to come and get them out, basically. So we're waiting to do that until like a day or two before close, just so that way we don't risk kicking them out now. And then through the escrow process, they go back in.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, for this whole process of getting the person evicted, how long does that take in your area?
Well, honestly, I've never gone through an eviction process myself. So I don't really know the exact timeline, but I think it can range anywhere from 60 or more days for an eviction process. And so they handled that a long time ago. They just had never actually gone, basically the court gave the seller the possession of the house. So now she just has to get somebody to actually kick them out. But it could be anywhere from 60 or more days, I believe.
Oh, yeah. So that's just my question on if they had already done that prior to it, or if you had to walk them through that. But it sounds like they were proactive in doing that, and then you guys didn't have to worry about it too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We didn't. That was a big thing for us, is like, we're going to have to come way lower on our number if they hadn't already gone through the eviction process there. And we put just a term on our contract. Hey, this closing is subject to the property being vacant. And if the date of the squatter getting out with the scheduled sheriff date ends up falling after the close of escrow, then we're going to extend the close of escrow to a few days after that date or after the vacancy with confirmation from the buyer. So that was like the term that we put in agreement to. So basically the seller has like one massive loan on like 10 properties. So what we did was we offered on these properties, and she wanted cash, or not cash. She wanted like some cash, right? But it wasn't really possible because there was liens on the property, and if we're going to pay these properties off, it's going to go straight to. There's not really any equity. It's just going to go straight to the lender for that one big loan that she has on it, if that makes sense, right? So what we did in order for her to get a little bit of cash was we just lowered our purchase price, and then we said that we would pay her like a consulting fee separate from the purchase price through escrow, however much she wanted. And so the purchase price is what goes and pays off the bank, but then she's still getting that extra amount that she wanted for the full purchase price, and it's going to her directly rather than the lender.
Nice. Yeah, that's a really cool trick.
Yeah. And then she wasn't also willing to pay our realtor here, so we had to offer a couple grand to pay our realtor. So we threw that in there. We would just pay her a finder's fee in the contract. And this was a couple of months of going back and forth to get her down on price. Because they wanted, I think, an extra 20 grand, and they would not budge. And we're not making a killing. I think between the two houses, we're making 15 total. So we were trying to get a price that worked for the two of us. So it was like, my initial offer to Kemi, they wouldn't do it. So it was like, okay, well, not really much we can do. I'm just going to follow up. Then I kind of pulled myself out of the acquisition seat, right? I was in hiring mode. Brought on some acquisitions people. I ended up transferring a few agents over their way. And one of the people I hired, Adrian, ended up just taking over the lead. I didn't even ask him to. I forgot about the lead, honestly. And he just took over the lead and was like, hey, do you have any properties? And Kemi was like, yeah, we had one that we were working with Tyler on a long time ago. Has anything changed on your end? And then, that's how we were able to reconnect. And from there, Adrian just kind of brought it to the closing table, and just, we're still marketing, trying to get this thing. We haven't even sent it out yet because we just got the contract and we need to get some photos. But he got the signatures on it. We had a week-long period of the seller wouldn't sign anything because they wanted their attorney to review it, and there was no listing agreement. So I wrote up a direct-to-seller agreement, and they had a attorney or a lawyer review it for like a week. And so like every day throughout the week was like, we should sign it tomorrow. We should sign it tomorrow. And they just weren't signing. And then finally at the end of the weekend, they signed. And now we are working on getting the photos for the property so we can get this thing out, and got to get the right buyer for it, because we've got one that's occupied and one that we can't really access till we have the squatters out. So we will see how that thing goes.
There we go. That's an adventure.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything much to show in the conversation. I mean, it was just kind of a lot of back and forth. There's months of conversations through here. So, so I don't know if there's anybody who has any questions about that deal or anything, how we had to overcome some things, just throw it in the chat, unless there's anything, Luke, that you think I should go over.
No, I think there's a couple of good tips in there for sure, like how to get around that like giant loan for multiple properties to make sure they actually get paid. Potentially having to include the agent's fee in your offer, which is something that Jonah talked about a little bit at the beginning of the call with the new NAR lawsuit coming out. Like that might be more and more common, where buyers' agents have to negotiate their fee, and sometimes the sellers might not be willing to pay them, which means that we might have to pay them. And then we just got to make sure that we factor that into our negotiations. That just changes our offer price a little bit. So that was very good.
Yeah. Something I want to bring up real quick that I heard you guys talking with Jonah about prior to me joining was I think they were talking about the deal breakdown that we did yesterday about me getting the buyer deposit before disclosing the
Oh
the
yeah,
lockbox
yeah, yeah.
code.
That's good. Yeah, good. We could talk about that again. Yeah, for sure.
So I just want to clarify why I did that, because we had a commitment from the buyer already. The buyer was saying that they were good to go, and we'll deposit EMD, send over the contract, and we'll get it signed. And then at the same time, they're like, send over the lockbox code. We'll check it out the first thing in the morning as well. Then that's when I was like, okay, wait. If you're committing now, we got to get the assignment done. Got to get the deposit in, and then I can share the lockbox code with you. You guys can do whatever you want. But I don't want to share the lockbox code with you if I have a commitment from you and you haven't deposited EMD, because you could just use that period of when you can submit EMD next as a contingency period and just cancel on me in the morning. So that's why I specifically did it on that deal. I don't normally require a deposit before sharing access.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's going to depend a little bit deal upon deal. But Austin, how much do you know off the top of your head? Because you guys are doing double-digit deals a week, right? So it's like, do you know roughly how many deals you guys end up selling sight unseen? Because it's not unheard of to sell a deal sight unseen. Like that's like a fairly common occurrence. Like, do you know what the percentage is?
I don't know the percentage, but I could find out. And also, ballpark, I would say probably 50% sell sight unseen.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's like
That's
it's
solid.
not like that crazy to sell a deal sight unseen. It's like, I don't know, if a buyer gets very offended by it, it's like you can walk it back. It's like, it's very easy to just be like, yeah. And the way that I would position it too, right? Because again, I personally, if I'm on the dispo side, I would always try to push sight unseen first. And then if you can't, then you go. And like the way that you would do that, like one way, there's not the only way, but like a way you can do this is like, for example, let's say a buyer calls you, they say that they're interested in the deal, right? Like, oh, I think I really like this one, right? Don't do what old Luke did, which was like, all right, let me know when you're ready and hang up, right? Instead, you say like, oh yeah, it's a really good one. We're getting lots of interest on it. I think it's going to go pretty soon, right? Something along those lines. And so then if they're like, oh yeah, is there any way I can get in, see it, this, that, the other? You could just say, yeah, let me see what I can do for you. If you want to go that route, if you go push for the sale, one of the ways you can do that, say, hey, like I said, we're getting tons of action on this one. Like, yeah, we're going to be able to get you in before close at some point, but there's a solid chance that this thing ends up going today. Pictures are current condition. Is there any way that you can, run your numbers and decide if this one works for you based off the current condition pictures, based off running your numbers and looking at comps? And if they say, yeah, then it's like, okay, great. We're in business, right? Or in some cases you might be like, is there any particular thing that you're wanting to actually go check out the property physically? And they might say like, oh, I just want to make sure foundation's good, or I want to make sure roof is good. And if you actually did some due diligence on the property and everything about that, then you can be, oh, actually, I already know, because like I said, pictures are current condition. We had our guy go over there. There's no roof issues, whatever. Or, oh, we know there's no foundation issues. Then it's like, okay, great. You can just speak to whatever they're concerned about. In some cases, they might say like, oh no, I just really need to confirm that pictures are current condition. And, because one time someone sent me pictures and turns out they weren't. Right. And then even then you can kind of like work past that by saying like, hey, like, if you wanted to promise this, right, you can be like, hey, if it turns out that the pictures are drastically different than the condition of the house, like I'll give you back your earnest money or whatever. You could try that if you're really pushing for the sale. Which we've had that, right? We did that one time where we were told the pictures were current condition. This does not happen often, so don't like freak out. But like where one time we believed pictures were current condition, somebody got in, pictures were like 5 years old. Turns out there's a giant hole in the ceiling or whatever, and we're like, oh, our bad. Here's your earnest money back. We're not trying to just scam you. So like, and again, right? But like, let's say they get upset and they're really offended. And they're like, oh no, I'd like this, that. I don't even know why they'd be offended if you presented it like that. But let's say somehow they were, you can always walk that back and say like, hey, yeah, I just want to make sure you don't miss out on the opportunity. Like I said, there's a bunch of interest in it. If you got to get in and see it first, totally understand. I'll see how soon we can get in it. And if it's still available by then we can get you in there, right? So again, you're pushing for the sale first, but then if they have a lot of pushback against that for whatever reason, then you can still backpedal and then push for the showing.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
I just got an answer back to Luke. So I think it's more like 25 to 30% of every wholesale deal that we sell, assuming we have pictures of the deal. So meaning Seller's agent sent us pictures, seller sent pictures, whatever. They can even just be basic iPhone pictures. 25 to 30% we sell with the buyer never actually walking the property.
There we go. Right. So it's like 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, which is like, that's a decent amount. So it's not like some unheard of thing, right? To sell deals sight unseen. Like it happens, you know?
Yeah, it's a huge amount because you got to remember we're doing 30, 40, like we're doing a lot of deals every month, right? So you got to figure basically
like 10 plus deals a month to go inside.
Yeah, we're 10 plus deals a month. We're selling sight unseen. Exactly. Yep.
That's a good number. That's a solid number. I would probably assume I definitely don't have that stuff tracked, to be honest, but I would guess that we're probably about the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. And it usually goes to the same guys. You're the guys that at least for me, for me, a lot of the deals that sell sight unseen go to guys who have bought from me in the past because they know me, they like me, I've got relationships with them, they've had success with me in the past, so they can make those decisions quicker than somebody who joined my list yesterday.
Yeah, that actually is another good point, right? So it's like, don't get too, if you're just starting, don't be super hard on yourself if you don't sell something sight unseen immediately, because it's true. You might need to build some rapport with some buyers before they trust you and are willing to believe that pictures are sight unseen. So that can be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to quickly just run to the restroom just so we can continue on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hop off here just real quick.
Perfect. I'll just move this over here. All right. In the meantime, Sarah, is there anything you want to go over? If not, we can just go over more mistakes that Luke has made during his wholesaling career that you should watch out for.
I don't know anything in particular that I want to go over necessarily. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts on things they would want us to go over, let us know. And we can start to go over those. Otherwise, Luke, if you just want to give us a little story time. I love your story times.
Cool. All right. Okay. Okay. So more mistakes that Luke made that you can learn from. All right. I guess the first deal, obviously everyone's first deal is probably like littered with mistakes. I'll tell you how I got my first deal on the disposition side. Again, I was working with a company at this point. This company, again, it was like a big wholesale company. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but I was working with Keegley, right? So they obviously at the time they were doing a whole bunch of deals. I'm sure they still do a bunch of deals. But so I was on the disposition side, and obviously since they had deals pending, they had deals active, they had deals. So anyways, they're like, hey, you got to memorize real fast all the deals that we currently have in inventory, and you need to memorize all the deals that we have sold. So that way, if somebody asks you about a past deal, you can let them know what happened to it, like all the canceled deals. So anyways, like first day there, I have to like try and memorize like the information of like 100 different deals. And the way that they tracked it is they would just literally have like little magnets that were, I don't know, probably about this size. They would just stick them on a whiteboard. And so you just had like 3 columns. So it was like active, pending, closed. And then actually there might've been another one for canceled. And so it's just like, if somebody called you about a deal, you just have to like scan all these magnets as quick as you could to, and see where it was. So anyway, some guy calls me and he's like, hey, do you have, I don't even remember the address. It was like, do you have 123 Main Street still available? I'm like looking at all the magnets. There's like 100 of these, like no joke. I just couldn't find it. And so I just was like, I think it's gone. I'm pretty sure that one's gone. And so I just told him like, yep, yeah, that one's sold. Sorry, bro, blah, 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 it's gone. I hung up. And then afterwards, I was like, hey, do you guys know about 123 Main Street? And like the guy sitting next to me was like, oh yeah, it's active. It's right there. And I was like, oh, I guess I missed it somehow. So I was like, okay, what do I do? So I called him back and I was just like, hey bro, turns out that we don't have earnest money in yet on that one. So if you want it, there's like a really short window where I can plug you into that one. He's like, yeah, I want it. And so that's how I sold my first deal, was just by like tripping into that mistake and then like, trying to correct it. Sarah, next question is about your tattoo. So it's Nicole, what do you want to know about it?
It says, I've had it for a couple years. It says Christ is my firm foundation. It's a worship song. So that's what it is. That's all it is.
Good baby. Good question, Nicole. Good question. Tyler, why don't you tell us about your tattoos? Oh, Tyler does have one. Is that a smiley face tattoo?
No
Tyler?
way. Is that an actual tattoo? Wait, Tyler, you're muted. But is that an actual tattoo?
That is a real tattoo. That is the only tattoo I have. My sister does tattoos, and when she first started, I let her do like a stick and poke on my wrist with a little smiley face. But that is the only thing I've got,
Well, at least it's a cute story. But
Yeah.
that's so,
So I guess you could say I kickstarted her tattoo career, No,
for sure. She owes everything she has to you.
Yeah, 50% revenue goes to me.
Oh my goodness. That's
All
so
right.
I don't think Luke has any, do you?
I don't have any tattoos. I have lots of scars, but I don't have any tattoos.
I also
Me too, bro. What are your scars from?
From my hobbies, right? Like I like historical fencing and things like that. So sometimes I'll do silly stuff, but I have all sorts of cuts all over me. So it's just
nice. Yeah, at least you look cool.
Yeah. But anyways, back to real estate stuff.
What scars have you gotten from real estate?
Well, just emotional ones, really. No, okay.
Emotional
No, I
scars.
haven't. I don't think I have any scars from real estate. Actually, there was one time I had to break. Well, there's one time I went into a house that was locked because we needed pictures of something. I cut myself in entering the house on my leg. So
that's not
That
good.
sounds
You could sue
illegal.
them.
Yeah.
All right,
it's
guys,
fun.
we need your help, the viewers here. All right, we're doing this for you guys.
Yeah, if you guys are all set and you don't really need anything,
I've never
we
taken improv classes, so I don't, I don't know.
if anyone has, it's definitely Luke. Oh,
I would agree with that actually.
I haven't taken any. Sorry.
Luke is a good actor sometimes. He can get up and do funny stuff.
All right. Yeah, I think people are
Tyler,
just
actually, you haven't answered this question yet, so it might be worth it. Sarah, do you know where the Jacob question was about? Like, it was something along the lines of like, what was the transaction that made you learn the most, either from success or from messing up or something like that?
Tell me a wholesale deal you did that you learned the most from, setback or success.
I mean, I've lost money on one deal, and it did teach me something. I'll try to come up with another example too, because I don't think this is the biggest lesson. It's one of the biggest lessons actually. It was a random deal that I got in like it was a random agent deal that I got in. I think it was what is the market called? That's like it goes by the abbreviation DMV. It's like by Virginia, DC, like Washington DC area, like over there.
Yeah.
So I think it was a random deal there, and California contracts are obviously different than that state. So I didn't really read the contract when it came to like EMD laws, because I just assumed it was the same, which obviously I was wrong. So I couldn't get my EMD back. It was only like $3,000, so it wasn't that crazy. But that was probably one of my biggest lessons, which was like, make sure you understand the contract before you just sign like random stuff. And also before you put money in to things, like understand the contract that you're signing. So that was probably one of the biggest things. I've had just like lessons, not that like set me back necessarily, but I've had lessons that just kind of taught me how to have conversations with buyers, I guess, right? Like I can't really think of an exact example. Man, I suck at answering this question. I'm sorry. But I think that there's definitely been some times where I've missed out on deals because I've just not said the right things. But I don't think there's any example that I can think of that really set me back necessarily. I mean, the second deal actually I did put me forward for success, which was like a deal I did. I just micro flipped it, which I got from a wholesaler, and then I sold it to a wholesaler. And I made 15. I guess I learned a lesson to know the market better and know that I can make more than what I think sometimes, because they both made 6 figures and I made 15,000. So both wholesalers, AC and Dispo, made over $100,000, and I made 15 because I didn't know the market. So, but that's all right. Lesson learned. Study the market, baby. Know the prices.
Wow. When you said that when you acquired it from a wholesaler and sold it to a wholesaler and made 15, I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And then and then when you told me what they made, I was like, oh wow, that's rough.
Yeah, this is California, California deals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I did learn that Bay Area you could make a lot of money. I definitely learned that because I've done 3 or 4 6-figure assignment fees in Bay Area. So if you want some big money, go to the Bay, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a boom, baby. We've had a couple of those in Las Vegas as well.
Nice.
And we had one in northern Arizona. Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't know you could pull those spreads out there.
Yeah.
Was it luxury type deal?
No. Well, the northern Arizona one, that was luxury. That was a luxury one. That was in Sedona. But all the Vegas ones, there was one Vegas one was in the $1 million price range. But then the other 2 were in like the $500,000 price range. So not like, that's like, mid tier. And then I know Thomas, he did one a couple years back that was actually like where it was like a $300,000 house and he made like $100,000 on it.
Nice.
That was in Tempe, I believe.
That's killer. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Cool. I feel like there's not much else to talk about. At least I can think of. Nobody's really throwing any questions in the chat. So,
do we just want to go over some best practices within SimplSend, like things to remember, and things like that, or what are we thinking?
best practices. Well, I go over these best practices with my team every single day, which is make sure that you are on top of your tasks and conversations, and keeping your pipeline organized. Because if you're not keeping your pipeline organized, at least in SimplSend, that also screws with your tasks. Because as you move properties down the pipeline, it creates new tasks for certain stages, right? So if you're not updating the stage of your property, it's not creating new tasks, which you're going to miss out on either follow-ups because it didn't create a task, or so many people might have some leads that they should be following up on that are just chilling in the deal lead stage because you never updated it to, the follow-up stage, for example, right? So keep that in mind. And then obviously check off your tasks when you're done, because at some point you'll have a ton of tasks. And if you aren't checking the tasks off, you're just going to overwhelm yourself. And you're going to scroll through the tasks that you feel like you already did because you're too lazy to check them off. And you're probably going to scroll past accidentally some tasks that you actually have to do or that you didn't do. And then your conversations. Best practice for me, I like to sort my conversations by oldest to newest. So that way everyone's getting an even response time from me. I'm not favoring the people I'm having conversations with right now. No matter who you are, you're getting a quick response from me because I have it filtered that way. And yeah, people just like that from you because they don't feel like, you're ignoring them, or you don't have to come up with the excuse like, sorry, you're buried in my messages. There is no excuse for that because you could just sort by oldest messages and just go through it like that. So
that's a really smart way to do it, to make sure that you're responding in like a decent amount of time. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about it for sure.
Yeah, especially if you're doing agent outreach, right? Because there's a lot of agents that are going to be texting you back. And if you reply late, it's not a really good look, especially if they've got a lead, or especially if you just connected with them and their first impression is this guy doesn't respond because he's got too many messages. Probably not a reliable person that I could trust doing deals with. He might not respond to me while I'm in escrow with him. So your reputation is important. Respond back to people. Those are my best practices.
Awesome. Nicole said, "Yep, I like that tip. I've had it the other way." So Nicole
Yeah.
also is a licensed agent, so I think she might be saying that she doesn't love it when people don't respond super fast if she has a deal. So.
Oh yeah. I need to call Nicole back. By the way, I talked to her the other day. She was, and then I got interrupted by another call, and I forgot to call her back. So maybe I'm not setting the best example right now. So I'll call you back, Nicole. Don't worry. Oh, that's so funny.
Can you do anything specific within SimplSend that you think people should maybe add?
Honestly, we've already talked about this, but I guess it's worth reiterating. And I say the biggest thing to make sure you do is start with the things closest to the money, right? Like don't be like that one Tucson team that I was telling you about, where they always started on their cold outreach and then forgot to follow up on their offers out and their properties in and the things that they had pending in escrow. Because literally, if you forget to follow up on those things closest to the money because you're not prioritizing them and you're leaving them for later, there's definitely going to be problems that pop up, and you're not going to have time to catch all of them, and so you're going to be missing out on stuff. So always check in first on the things closest to the money, and those should be super quick, right? Like let's say you only have 1 to 5 deals in pending. That could be as simple as like a text message where you're just like, hey, I just wanted to check in. Is everything looking good? So and they'll just be like yes or no, or oh, actually I need an extension, or this or that, the other, right? So yeah, you always, like, if there is going to be a problem, trust me, you want to know about it as soon as possible, and that's only going to happen if you're doing follow-up. So yeah, start with the thing closest to the money, and then just I guess like a family motto that I have with my family is like a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing, right? Like make sure you're actually taking action and doing something. Obviously, the more consistent you are, and just like Austin and Tyler were saying earlier, like the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, right? In part, I think that's why all of us are entrepreneurs in some senses, because we want to be able to get direct benefits from what we're putting into it, right? Like if you're in a salary position, in some senses, it doesn't matter how much you put into it. You might not always get that same amount out. But in an entrepreneur position, that definitely is the case. Like the more you can keep sowing into it more and more and more, and then reap the benefits later. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to add on to that really quick. Is I've seen the most success when the consistency is there, like Luke was saying, right? So it's better to do it 2 hours a day every day than 5 hours every 4 days. So if you could just do a little bit every single day, I think you're going to definitely be more on top of things. You're going to have more conversations, and you're going to be able to just kind of have better management with your leads and things like that. When you're doing that, instead of once every week where you're just spending 8 hours, right? I've had conversations with people who are like, oh, on Mondays I try to spend most of my time doing it, and then I try to, or Saturdays I try to spend most of my time doing it, and throughout the week I really don't touch it much. So it's like, what? I mean, I guess it's better. It's still better than nothing, but I'd rather see you do an hour every single one of those 7 days, than 8 hour days on a Saturday. That's it.
Right. It was like, imagine only brushing your teeth like on Saturdays. Right. It's like, oh, I only brush my teeth on Saturdays, but I brush it for longer. It's like,
yeah.
I guess it is better than nothing, right? But I think it'd probably be better to do shorter every day,
That is a good analogy. I never thought of that. Yeah, that's solid. Cool. All right. What else are we talking about?
Honestly, if we don't have any questions and we don't have anything specific we want to go over, I think we might be good to just end it here. If nobody has anything they want to add on, I think we're good. We are doing this every second Thursday of the month. So we do have this kind of going on every, what's that called? What's it called? Recurring. This is a recurring thing. So obviously the first of many, but thank you guys so much for hopping on. We really appreciate you, and we will see you next month. All
Let's
right.
go.
Bye.